You don't even know about gaygate, Hook? No, gaygate. Come on, Henry being gay now and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. We talked about this last night. It's this whole situation where people are like, if there's any gay characters in this game, I'm not playing it. Then it's like, oh damn, okay. Well, it's sad that you're more familiar with Goonergate than gaygate. Not gonna lie, that's just sad. You know, it shows the time that we're living in. It's really sad. That's a sister duo out of Miami. Neoni. Is gaygate that game coming out? No. So here's the thing, dude. So we're gonna focus more. Thought that was Black Merchant Gate. We're gonna focus more on the situation with like what's going on over between all these YouTubers and shit. Melanie Mack, razorfist, the Quartering, Smash JT, John Delarose, John Trent. This has turned into a gigantic, complete and utter shit show over here. I don't know how we even got to this point, to be honest, because people are just losing their damn minds, and I don't know what to do about it. Because I feel like I'm one of a few people who is sitting here caught right smack dab in the middle of it, and I don't know. At this point, I feel like I just need to kind of cut ties with the entire internet and just go my own way, you know? Not you guys, obviously, but like every other content creator or, you know, journalist, you know, private journalist, non-mainstream. I'm over it. I'm over this entire freaking disastrous thing. And tonight it's more about the gooning out of a first descendant, but it kind of started up again because of the gay character, or the potential gay character in Kingdom Come 2. Same as what split up Occupy Wall Street. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It is definitely, I don't even know how to make heads or tails of it, to be honest. I wish NS was around because I'd love to hear his thoughts on it. I'm sure he'd get pretty spicy. Not even doubting that. I'm sure when he gets back, he'll have a lot to say on the situation. No, so we'll dive into this in 1 second. I'm just finishing updating YouTube, making sure everything is actually working this time. But I don't understand how we have truly reached this level of retardation. Signing in for the goon sesh. Well, there's no actual gooning going on here. I hate to tell you, Galactic, but I appreciate you being here. Title play by black propagandist or a third party hidden hand shit. You know NS? Yeah, he's been around. He probably gifted you a sub at some point. The dude has been absolutely insane. But he's taking a break from social media. He's not probably going to be here for a week or two, I imagine. Hopefully he's fine. He didn't elaborate on what's going on, but he just said basically he needed a break. Hang on 1 second. But I can't even with the internet today. In general, I'm just kind of over all these people. Like every single one. I mean, anybody who's being like completely deranged and unhinged. Anybody else who's trying to be normal about it, I'm cool with. But like right now, it's insane. Why do they make up these weird words? I don't know, Kim. I have no idea. What about the TikTok ban? Well, the TikTok ban is happening, right? So, personal opinion, I think it sucks. Not for the fact that, you know, the government is allegedly trying to protect its citizens. And of course, there's content on TikTok that isn't being monitored. And of course, there's also CCP spying. Look, I'm not a fan of TikTok. However, my issue stems back from, like, where does it end? When does the U.S. government decide that Twitter or YouTube or Rumble or any of these other platforms is no longer, you know, safe for people to be on? I don't like the government interference side of it. So if you're asking me just about the ban itself, that's where I kind of sit on that situation. Bach warns against things like TikTok. Children dance one way one day, then dance in another way. It's about scattering the minds of kids. Huh. I'll have to look that one up. Let me see here. But yeah, as far as like the Coomer Gooner, all the derogatory terms, I don't know. So rather than addressing the whole Kingdom Come situation, because that's just a whole different ball of wax, maybe we'll get into it tonight if we have time. Yeah, he's going to get there too late. The ban's going to go into place before he gets there. And to be honest, I think the best case scenario, the best win in the TikTok situation would have been for a private company to buy TikTok. There's no doubt about that in my mind. That would have been the absolute best case scenario. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So, I mean, there have been a lot of people, ton of people, who've been saying, oh, you know, maybe I'll buy TikTok. Hell, Mr. Beast was talking about it, right? Talking about, oh, maybe I'll buy TikTok, get these billionaires together. It's like, I don't know that anybody legitimately wants TikTok, because what a lot of people don't realize is TikTok is not great for, like, it's not a big money-making app. It doesn't make a lot of money, for at least for its content creators. So I don't know how much money is really truly in TikTok. All right, so just to get everyone up to speed, we've had Goonergate a couple months ago, where people focused, they hyper-focused on First Descendant. In fact, maybe I can find, let me see if I can find this real quick. Hang on a second. I'm gonna grab, no, we'll put that one back. I think we'll grab this one, because I can probably find it from right here. I should have included this one. Here we go. Thought I have the video somewhere in here. Oh, come on, where did that go? Somebody had mentioned twerking in First Descendants, and I'd asked somebody about it, and I cannot find the video now. Damn. Oh well. YouTube has special interest in blocking any acquisition, thereby Google has an interest. And Alphabet is big enough, it owns Congress. Oh yeah, Alphabet absolutely owns people. There's no question there, right? Alright, so I guess we'll just jump into it. I can't find the video. Essentially, it was the situation where people were basically saying that First Descendant versus Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade is fine because reasons, but First Descendant is just basically like softcore, spicy stuff, right? It's just softcore. It's just for the Gooners. It's only for degenerates and all that stuff. To which I say, you could certainly take it that way. You can basically make anything degenerate. Like, honestly, people can, you know, that whole Rule 34 thing or whatever? About, I think it's Rule 34 that you can basically make anything sexual, right? Unfortunately, that doesn't give you a reason to justify your kink over somebody else's, or, you know, say what I like is okay, but what you like isn't. There's a lot of reasons why there's this cultural divide between different groups of people who seem to be in the same camp, okay? The reason it's relevant with Kingdom Come Deliverance is because of the fact that there are so many people who are, quote, anti-woke, right? Within the same sphere as people who are also anti-gay. And look, like I've said before, I don't morally condone homosexual behavior. I don't approve of it. But it's also not my job to go out and tell people, I don't like what you're doing. They're adults, they're going to do what they're going to do, right? I can disagree with them. If they ask my opinion, I'll give my opinion on it. But that's the thing. It's like with the anti-woke movement, it's like, no, anti-woke has always been anti-gay propaganda in games or anti-gay representation. Well, woke doesn't mean gay, and it never has. Gay would be pride events, right? Or that's woke. You know, having to push an LGBT agenda, that's woke. Simply being gay, well, you can morally disagree with it, but it's not inherently woke. It has nothing to do with wokeism, right? But if it's T-rated, that's when it's pushing into there going, yeah, I mean, I think that's a very legitimate, rational way to look at it. So unfortunately, that's where this entire divide is kind of kicked off again, because Goonergate had kind of quieted down for a while. Everyone had kind of simmered down. After the first time, the whole First Descendant thing really blew up. And then this idea that you have to be anti-gay anybody in your game or gay anything in your movies to be anti-woke started Goonergate up again. So where was she? Hey, Kim, you know, it's really funny. I was actually going to try to bring up a list of games. In fact, maybe I'll try to find that real quick. Because here's the thing. I've said before, I don't want a bunch of gay stuff in my games. I don't want a bunch of gay crap. I don't want a bunch of gay characters. But if there's gay characters that are there, and it's not propaganda, and it just fits the story, or it serves a purpose of like a narrative purpose, okay, Doesn't mean I have to love it. And if I don't enjoy the game, I won't play it. So it's not that big of a deal. Characters in games. List of video games with LGBT characters. Let's see. Watch, it's going to be a bunch of like garbage games, right? Let me see if there's any games on here I actually recognize. Probably nothing that I played, to be honest. There's a bunch of Leisure Suit Larry games that have a bunch of gay characters. Streets of Rage 3, Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger had a gender fluid or gender non-conforming. Interesting. Oh, but that's like revisionist. This is because it's Wikipedia. Yeah, you can't trust Wikipedia. But honestly, here's the thing. My biggest takeaway from the entire conversation is how can you say that gooning in a game is degenerate, which it can be, sure. But if you're going to justify violence or theft or other things, let's say, for example, Witcher 3. Okay, Witcher 3, just like Fable, like any other game that has like, brothels and stuff, you can go out philandering and whoring and stuff in the game. Why is nobody going after Witcher 3? And I'm pretty sure there were gay characters in Witcher 3 as well. In fact, there was incest in Witcher 3. I can't remember the name of the guy that you go do the quest where he's got his sister's baby locked up downstairs, or his sister. I can't remember if it's his daughter who turns into a monster who he has locked up in the castle. But like, there's all sorts of depravity in that game. Well, they might say, well, again, CDPR is woke, but again, they weren't woke at the time. Hey, Matt Adam. Yeah, I figured he'd be hopping on and covering this. I don't fault anybody if they want to watch him instead. He's more definitely in the middle of this, but I'm looking at it from an outsider going, this shit has gotten so unhinged, right? And I think, again, that unfortunately, the drama around Kingdom Come 2 is what's kicked off this second round of Goonergate, as we call it, unfortunately. So I think the moral justification that they're trying to use is unfortunately very flawed. I think it's because there's game companies you're not allowed to hate on the internet. Well, I mean, if you're looking at it from a corporate standpoint, maybe, but like from a YouTuber standpoint or from covering it like an individual, not associated with any of these corporations, there should be no rules about who you're allowed to criticize and who you're not. And a lot of YouTubers have been criticizing CDPR for years now. But again, if you go back to Witcher 3 CDPR, it's not the same company. So are you going to criticize that or not, To rob people of every pleasure and trace of optimism is contemptible, entirely aside the fact they seek to take people in poverty and drive them to misery. Paraphrasing more. Dude, you got to be careful with that, man. Oh, man. But no, it actually sounds pretty legit, not gonna lie. My cat is giving herself a bath right in front of the TV. It's kind of annoying. Anyways, yeah, so I've been sitting back trying to stay out of the middle of this, trying to interject where I can, trying to not make as many enemies as possible, just trying to be like, guys, why is everybody losing their shit, right? And unfortunately, it's gotten to this point now where I believe this is like the only other post about this on Melanie Mack's Twitter account. She has one from 2 hours ago. This is her most recent statement on it, so yeah, this is the one that she has up top there. I don't do personal drama. There's no way people are that mad because I said I don't want to see characters twerking in thongs. Now, this is the crux of this entire argument. And we'll watch a video from her that Smash shared earlier today. And I haven't listened to it yet, so I'm curious what she actually says in the video. Her entire argument, the difference between why Stellar Blade is okay and why First Descendant is not, is because First Descendant was designed to be a, quote, Gooner game, right? Stellar Blade just happens to be a feminine female character, which I think is the most asinine, retarded argument you could ever make. Both games are marketed to the same exact audience, okay? They just are. They literally are marketed to the same audience. The difference is Stellar Blade might be a better game, but also First Descendant's a multiplayer online game. They're completely different. They're marketed to different audiences of people who would either, buy a single player game or play microtransactions, but they both appeal to a wide audience for a very specific reason, okay? That being said, there's the moral justification of why my game is okay and why your game's not. But then this whole twerking and thongs thing, and I've asked about this. Nobody can point to a single situation or example of where there's twerking in thongs on First Descendant. It doesn't exist, right? We love Mark's YouTube, yeah. Got to keep up our good commie rating. So then she says this is either manufactured out of proportion because the news cycle is slow and rent is due, or there's some angry demons. Now look, I want to be very clear before we get really into this on the stream. I was raised religious. I am not going to be attacking anybody on the basis of their religious beliefs, their faith, their moral conviction, whatever. So none of that has anything to do with anything we're going to talk about, all right? I am coming from this as objectively as humanly possible in this situation. Hey, Road Sweeper, how's it going? When people that intentionally lobby a grenade, they just launch a grenade online to stir up controversy, to share an inflammatory opinion, it could be for Twitter monetization reasons, it could be for literally anything, right? When they start instantly getting pushback and they refer to it as, oh, I must have hit, really close to home, or I got some demons riled up. It's like, not everybody who reacts with anger or with insult is going to be like, oh, that hit too close to home, so I just have to lash out. No, sometimes it could be, for example, I think somebody compared me to Andrew Tate or somebody else to Andrew Tate once, and I'm like, yeah, that's not even freaking close, man. But you do you, buddy. There are certain things where comparisons are just insulting, and it's not because you hit close to home or because the person's demons are coming out. It's just that you didn't stick the landing, essentially. So in this situation here, this is her response. I'll be staying on topics and not gossiping about people. This is just stupid and catty behavior. I wish she would have had this opinion 12 hours ago. So this kicked off, by the way, I love the font on your name. I don't know how you freaking did that, but it's awesome. I can't even read it. Looks like Han. H-A-N. So I'm going to go with Han. Basically, this happened last year. Last year technically, because I think it was back in October or November. One YouTuber, Dread Roberts, was criticizing First Descendant for just being a game that's sexualized with no real content. Now, there's an argument to be made there. I think First Descendant is a very mid game compared to other games of the similar type like Warframe or other games that are doing really well like Marvel Rivals. First Descendant is much more in gameplay like Warframe, but it's far like inferior, right? But they have pretty women. Okay. So it got referred to as softcore pornography, essentially, is what happened with First Descendant. That kicked this off a few months ago. And then it turned into YouTuber drama where everybody was fighting each other, insulting each other. This side of it's like, oh, you guys are just perverts. And this side of it's like, you guys are just, prudes and Puritans and stuff. And I'm over here somewhere in the middle going, well, maybe there's truth a little bit to both, but do I really care in the grand scheme of things? No. I don't think the game is that offensive. I think there's far worse things to complain about if you really want to take the puritanical approach and complain about types of games. Look, there's a little toggle on Steam. There's a filter for all the hentai games and all the mature rated games and X-rated games that are on Steam. If you want to go attack somebody, turn that filter off and go look at how many thousands of games are on there, okay? But there's a reason you can filter those games out, because not everybody wants to play those, and therefore you have the choice not to. But attacking a game like this, while I don't defend the game because I think the content in the game's kind of crappy, I don't find the game fun. I tried First Descent, it just got boring, It seems like it's like low-hanging fruit. It's just like the easiest target you could possibly aim at. And that's what started all this. And of course, everybody took sides, and then it just kind of died down for a while. And unfortunately, that has led into where we are now within this last week, where the gay character in Kingdom Come gets brought up, the lash between the developers and the publishers and people on Twitter and Daniel Vavra, and now it's just kind of bled right back into this whole Goonergate 2.0 thing again, okay? It's just, yes, it is just stupid Twitter drama, but unfortunately, it's just creating a lot of bad blood between people who were otherwise ideologically more or less on the same side of things, and it sucks because once again, it's like, how many times can you win before you start tearing each other apart? I think we're there. I think we've had so many wins that we're at the point where people are just going to start tearing each other apart, and it sucks. The way I look at it, I never enjoyed Melanie Mack's content. I subscribed to her channel when she really started blowing up, before she went to work with the Quartering. And I tried watching a few videos, and for me personally, I just couldn't get into it. Again, not a personal attack on her. It just wasn't for me. Something about her voice or her mannerisms or the content, I just didn't feel it, you know? Yeah, and see, the thing is, I don't truly believe that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is intended for gay people. I don't think it's one of those games that is intended for that, dude. And if it is, then it's not for me either. Like, I 100% agree with you. I've said many times, and I'll say it again. I don't want to watch a movie full of gay people, and I don't want to play a game full of gay people. Not my thing. You want to go do your thing, and if it sells, then clearly that's what the market demands. But it's not for me, you know? Tempted to call it another Mercusian negative dialects play, and from Mercuse there can no beauty, because if there's beauty, there's also ugly. See, here's the problem. This is definitely what we've run into before with like the Alyssa Mercantes of the world, and this is where a lot of people are comparing Melanie Mack to Alyssa Mercante, because of the fact that you have this same reaction, but from different perspectives. You have two different ideological sides trying to censor people, or censor what they enjoy, or tell them that they're wrong for enjoying it, based on their own perceived value or morality of the said, you know, game or movie or whatnot. Because I have a tweet here, I'm sure I'll get to it eventually, that I put out today. Let me see if I can just find it real quick, because I think it's a pretty good example of what I'm talking about right here. Here we go. I said the issue with Melanie's entire approach is the same as Alyssa Mercante's. It's the, quote, safe, horny scenario. Melanie will justify sexuality in games she approves of, like Tomb Raider and Stellar Blade, but condemn it in First Descendant. Sound familiar? And then, of course, we all remember this article from Alyssa Mercante talking about Hades 2, because they had a fat guy in a wheelchair and androgynous people. Hades 2 is the kind of hot we need right now, okay? So again, the idea that it only has to be characters that you approve of, right? There has to be something where you approve of the sensuality or sexuality, or, again, whatever it is that you think is okay with the portrayal of the characters. But when it gets down to it, you're not okay with somebody else's, right? Now, freaking Melanie Mack was trending today, okay? That's how crazy this shit got on Twitter. Also, Satanic Panic, which we're going to get into in a minute here. Let me see here. So, okay. Melanie has gone through, and she's deleted... Hades 2 is full of hideous characters from what I've seen. But I covered that last year. Like, for months, we talked about Hades 2 on this channel. And how it basically was tailor-made for the LGBT, non-binary, modern audience that just wants diverse representation, and not for the same people who would have actually enjoyed the first game, right? Because I remember playing through the first game all the way up to Hades. I got to him twice. One time I almost beat him. And then I moved on to other games. But it was a fun game for a while. I played it for a few weeks. And yeah, there were some slightly like okay, so Greek mythology, there is some homoeroticism in there anyways, so it's like no big deal. The gods are like horny buggers who will do anything and everything in Greek mythology, as far as I remember. So it didn't seem like forced or anything. And then of course the characters still looked cool. You get to Hades 2, and it's like they took every character and hit them with the gay stick, right? It's just absolutely hideous game. And then they called Dread Roberts crazy. It's funny how the crazy ones ended up being right. Well, Foxy, here's the thing. It's right, but it's not, because I agree with him on the aspect that you can't just put depravity or, you know, I do not agree that it's softcore porn. I don't, because softcore porn has to be pornography, which has to have nudity, which the game does not, in my personal opinion. I think we can all agree to disagree about that. I think it was the wrong target, to be honest. I don't think it was the right game to go after. Like I said, if you want to criticize a game that is actually like an explicit hentai type game or something else, that's a whole different thing. But I don't think he was right about that specific scenario. But again, we can agree to disagree on that. Yeah, I played Hyperlight Breaker, and it just was boring. You know, the game might have been, I don't know, there's no dialogue in the game, so I don't know if it was decidedly woke or not. Oh, you agree with what I'm saying. Okay. Well, I'm confused about your previous message, but it's fine. We'll move on. You're still annoyed at the tax on Kingdom Come Deliverance? Yeah. Athenians were a bit buggery, so researching what all happened is fuzzy because Spartans always called them boy lovers. Yeah, no, and well, the Greeks in general. I was talking about the Greek mythology as a whole. Greek mythology, as far as I remember, was pretty depraved. I mean, you had gods doing it with animals and all sorts of stuff. So Melanie Mack, I don't even have the tweet because she's gone through and deleted all the tweets, right? So she put out a tweet or a video talking about Smash JT. He says, "You admit to not watching me, you form opinion against me. What even is this? Make an actual argument, show proof, bring receipts to back your reasoning, throw Bibles at people doesn't work, it's weak AF and honestly embarrassing. You scold your audience, calling them losers, pervs, and demonic for daring to not ideologically align with your soup of the day. It's intellectually insulting and verbally abusive, it's effed up, real talk. It's not anyone else's responsibility to believe what you do. You're going to have a bad time continuing down this road. When you shift gears again, no one's going to care. At this point, you're just another female version of Review Tech USA. Hate me all you want, I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Believe it or not, I'm trying to help you understand and hopefully be better than whatever the F this approach you're taking is." And this is kind of like his response that really got things going, right? So of course, the quartering jumps in because people start tagging the quartering in all this crap. And he tweets it and says, "This dude has been crying about Melanie Mack all night. It's honestly really pathetic. Play your titty games all you want, but stop moralizing, acting like you're defending the honor of her scorned fans. It's pathetic, bro." And the funny thing is, while Smash definitely plays more of the libertarian role, like I don't know how conservative he is personally compared to, like, you know, more of like a moderate centrist or whatnot. I've never seen him like outright defend blatant degeneracy in games, you know? So, Patriot, I'll do another quick summary again. Sorry, I should have this written up or pinned somewhere to make it real simple. First Descendants got criticized for being nothing but essentially sexualized, monetized, you know, mini transactions for people to buy skimpy outfits for girls, and the game was lacking content. I argue that the game is no different than Stellar Blade because they're marketed to the same audiences, but of course people criticized games like First Descendant as softcore porn when the reality is it's just a game that has spicy girls in it. You know, nothing more in a nutshell. It's just that. That's just it. Few people dropped a grenade and walked away about sexy girls in mature games. Yeah. So that's basically it. That's what caused it a few months ago, and here we are yet again. Well, if you want to say that you can't be Christian and have tattoos, then I got a problem there, because I guess that means I'm going to hell. But let me see here. I don't care about attractive characters being in games like Stellar Blade, but it can't just be the only thing in the game. Oh yeah, no, see, Foxy, I've said this before. I think that Stellar Blade is probably a better game than First Descendant. My issue with First Descendant is the gameplay is not as good as other games in the same genre. So I think that unfortunately the attractive characters only carry you so far, as like you said, the game is down 90% of the player base. And they've moved on to other games. They've gone on to like Marvel Rivals and what's the one, Deadlock over on Valve. When I was younger, I thought Cosmos was good looking, and now you look back and she's tame. I don't even know who that is, to be honest. That one doesn't ring any bells. Look that one up later. I'm not sure who that even is. Besides, I also like punk music. What's wrong with punk rock? Come on. It depends on the view you take of Christianity, I guess. And the thing is right here, I'm not here to tell you how to, you know, be a Christian. That's not my point. My point is simply whether or not her faith is legitimate doesn't matter to me. I don't care about that. That there are people who care about whether that chick Nala, the OnlyFans chick that became a trad girl or whatever after she made all of her money, whether she's legitimately a Christian or not. I really do not care. So, well, I don't think that there's only one way to Christian. Its origins in Leviticus, which is in the Torah. And there's Isaiah, which is, but that's, yeah. So, again, like Hook said, there is a lot of interpretation to that. A lot of it has to do with the Jewish people of the time and not, or the Israelites, I guess you would call them, not Christians. There's nothing directly, as far as I've ever read or seen in the New Testament, about Christians and tattoos. You know, so whatever. But again, I'm not here to tell you how to do your religion. That's not the point. That is not what we're talking about here. I find it very weird that somebody who claims to be so religious would defend anything but say what I have is fine, but what you have is bad. You know, it's really weird. Well, I will say, Patriot, I definitely have slowed down, but I got basically my tattoo schedule, if you want to call it that, because I didn't get a tattoo till I was 25, and then I would only get like one a year, and so that started years ago. So I'm 38 now, and up until 2019, I would go and just get one for Father's Day because my birthday rolls right around Father's Day, right? So that'd be kind of like my gift to myself. And I haven't gotten a new one in like 5 years. Possibility of disease or identifying marks. There's not a lot of upside outside personally. Yeah, well, I didn't do it for anybody else but me. That's the thing, though. Yeah, I would say there comes a point where, just like anything else, if we're gonna have a religious conversation here, which I hate doing because I am not a scholar, would never claim to be. I don't like people who get into arguments about theology, because I find that 90% of people who want to argue about theology are self-righteous assholes most of the time. And I've been related to and known a lot of people like that. So for me personally, I'm like, not my cup of tea. However, I would agree that the closer you are to God, the less likely you probably are to completely destroy your body. I think that's a fair opinion to have. Certainly, the more mentally healthy you are, the less likely you are to, let's say, tattoo your eyeballs, pierce your face, get a face tattoo or something. Yeah. I think that there are definite indications of depression, unwell mental states, all sorts of stuff that body modifications definitely would indicate. And just like the whole idea that girls that tend to have like the nose rings and stuff always tend to be the ones that are like left-wing and mentally unstable. It's very interesting how there tends to be a massive amount of overlap. Yeah, so we got the quartering now fighting with Smash JT. Melanie says he has a problem with Christians and openly declared a culture war against us. This is much deeper than me not liking characters twerking in thongs. Not a thing that I've ever seen. Oh, dude, I can't even imagine tattooing your eyeballs. Good Lord, that would be insane. Twerking in thongs is not a thing that is in First Descendants. You can criticize First Descendants all you want to. Like I said, if we're going to have a legitimate conversation about the game, yes, the game is gimmicky. We're going to give you sexy hot women instead of giving you like extremely top tier gameplay and story. Which is why for me, Warframe beats it 10-1. Without even having like the sexualized characters. But the whole twerking and thongs thing, not a real thing in the game. She's talking about the character Luna, as far as I know. That she kind of like, she plays music, or she's like a support character, right? And she sways her hips back and forth. And I said yesterday, I'm like, dude, there was more hip swinging when I was a kid going to line dance clubs with my family, because that was something we did back in the 90s, was, go line dancing. And you had people swinging their hips around far more than these characters in this game. Dude is friends with... Is he friends with Keffals now? No. There's no way that they kissed and made up. I thought that they were on bad terms. There's a place for most things. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, look, I can as a person with morals, I can draw a line on it and say, I think all adult entertainment is morally bad. Done. It's an easy line. In the same way that I can say murdering somebody is bad. In the same way that I can say theft is bad. In the same way that I can say, all these other things are bad. However, now you're blurring the line between entertainment, and I don't mean entertainment with real people where people still have to, let's say, simulate sexual acts like in a movie where there's naked people. Because again, I still believe that that's wrong. We're talking about now, you're crossing into the digital world, so what are you going to say about, like, it's art, essentially? Well, you've got hundreds of years, thousands of years of art of naked people from churches. I mean, in churches. So where do you draw the line? The moral ambiguity part of this is where a lot of the hypocrisy starts to bleed through, and it makes it very questionable how seriously you can take some of these people, Well, Fizzy, it's barely hanging on. It's barely hanging on. I would really hate to have surprise gay sex scenes popping up out of nowhere. I mean, Han, I 100% agree. Hopefully it's Han. Is it Hans or Han? You don't want scantily clad women in view of kids or even young adults. Fair. If it's in a game for adults, it's fine. Well, I mean, here's the thing about that. Prime example. I have 3 kids. My oldest kid is turning 12 in a few weeks here, right? And I don't want him, if I'm playing a game that's like super mature. Okay, so for example, my kids have seen me play like most of the games that I play because I don't play anything that's like heavily sexualized, right? But if I was playing a game that I knew might be questionable as far as like the adult content in it, you can bet your ass I would not play it until my kids are in bed or not, not around. Sir Hans, there we go. We'll go with that. Oh man. I think adults bad for yourself, but I don't think it should be banned or censored. I mean, that's the thing, dude. It's really tough for me because, like I've said before, and I put this opinion out there, if tomorrow the government decided to go back to, I think it was a ruling in it was like the 80s. I think it was only as far back in the 80s, so let's say 40 years ago, that the adult entertainment industry was considered legal. That was a bad court decision, in my personal opinion. In the same way that I think Roe versus Wade was a bad court decision and they overturned it. If they decided to overturn the precedent that allowed the adult film industry to exist, I wouldn't shed a tear. I'd be like, oh well, people are still going to get their freak on. They're still going to figure out other ways to do it. But I'm not going to be sad for it. However, we're talking about video games. We're talking about things that are different than actual human beings interacting with other human beings. I think way too many people are going from a position where they think that they ultimately should have the authority to tell other people what they can and can't do, And it's tough. It's a really tough situation. You crush the developer if they do. 9 game developers are cooked since Gamergate 2 started for pulling that shit. Yeah. It's crazy, like Melanie Mack is 39. It makes me think she's getting jealous over younger, hotter women because she's hitting the wall. Somebody roasted the hell out of her, posted a picture of an empty egg carton the other day, and absolutely, ratioed the hell out of her. I don't know. So-called people on the right attacking him come as this, and I think you've insinuated you're Christian. Was it great for Christians? It was great for conservatives, and it got Jesus Christ be praised. Well, the thing is, dude, I don't even know. You could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm 20 plus hours into the first game. I don't know that it's even a Christian game. And you can bet your ass that I don't think the developers are a bunch of Christians. I'm sure that there are plenty of people who identify as pagans, maybe freaking agnostics, atheists, whatever, that are also working at the studio. I said earlier today, because the guy from Lords of the Fallen was asking more questions, trying to get more feedback on games. And I'm like, I don't care if a person that works on a game is gay, if they don't agree with my politics, if they don't agree with my morals, if they can set all those things aside, and just make a great game that's going to appeal to the mass majority of audiences and not go out and attack their customers, I will play that game. I don't care who makes it. One of my favorite singers, if we're going soft rock, pop, that kind of crap, is Elton John. To this day, I still love Elton John's music, right? And I love all sorts of music. I love all sorts of Swedish metal and weird shit, right? But I love Elton John. To me, does it matter that he's gay as far as his music goes? No. I don't care about that. When it comes to his music, I'm listening to his music, You thought she was 32? No, it's a lot of eyeliner. The game never meant for it to be 100% a Christian game. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And so many people are going, they've betrayed us because they put a gay character in the second game. And I'm like, guys, there's gay characters in what's happening here is a lot of people are revealing that they know nothing about the first game. And I'm going to say, probably going to step on some toes here from some people that I know that are involved in all this. There's a lot of people talking about this who don't play any video games, or probably very few video games, all right? And then you guys can probably figure out who the people are as we go through these posts. There's people here talking about gaming being a Christian thing, or talking about how, we have to make gaming based again. It's like, gaming was never meant to reflect a religious worldview or a certain ideology. It never was. There are plenty of things that do. There are plenty of things that are, and that's perfectly fine. I think that's good. Again, I look at it from the perspective of, if you have something better to offer the world, that's the point of Christianity, is to offer something better, right? This isn't offering something better, Game is exposing people to it, and so does a very positive and authentic way. Find me another game. I don't think I could find another game that does that. Oh yeah, no, the Satanic Panic for sure, and we're gonna get into that because that was a tweet that went viral today. The whole Satanic Panic thing, also. But you play a lot of those few games. Hey, Vernum, I'm right there with you. I have to drag myself away from the games that I fall into. For the longest time, guys, I have a Steam library full of games I don't play. Okay, because I just don't like. I bought. Let me see here. Where's my Steam library at? I know I'm gonna dox myself, I guess you would say, because I'll show my Steam name or whatever. Unable to connect to server. What the hell's going? Oh, because I was messing with my internet earlier. I reset my router again to try to fix some shit that was happening, and it just didn't fix anything. I don't know what's going on. I mean, let me pull up my Steam library. Where are we at here?
Like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
Oh shit, super chat.
Just a tip, cause first time seeing you and full score.
Dude, appreciate it, man. I mean, I'm just trying to tell it like it is, and unfortunately, I'm realizing in this world of, I'm not going to use the term grifter, right? I hate throwing that term around. Because there is so much of that where we hear that from like lefties and people who are like, if you criticize them at all, they call you a grifter, right? That's just reality. And I go, well, I'm not all about that. However, it's obvious to me that there are people in this situation who never play games. They just don't. And I don't mean because of a lack of time. I mean because they just don't. So like, I've got over here on the left here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got a library. I think I've got like currently 80 games in here. Now, I play games on Xbox Game Pass. I have my kids' Nintendo that I play games on. We play games on the Xbox. I've got multiple systems. So 80 games isn't a lot, but it's more games than I have time to play. And I've finished, I think, 25% of them. There are games that I've never even installed or that I don't play because I don't have time to get good at them, right? But I at least try to make time to play the games or talk about games that I'm going to play or cover the games that I've played or talk about. There's an importance to that. If there's going to be something where you're going to focus on that explicitly, you have to make yourself aware of what's actually there, you know? Patriot, I kind of feel like that's becoming more and more of the situation. You have a lot of hobbies, anime, manga, series, gaming. You literally only play one game a month. Dude, I can relate to that. So for me personally, my go-to game was Insurgency Sandstorm. When I didn't want to have to think. This last year, making YouTube videos, trying to get them out every single night, I'd get done with my videos and I'd be uploading. I'd move my video stuff to my second monitor. I'd turn on Insurgency over here and I'd take a break every 5 minutes, pause, or, you know, Windows and stuff will minimize it to go over here and keep uploading stuff. And then I go back to my game, PvP and all that. And the thing for me is that game is a very easy game to just jump into while I'm uploading videos and just, you know, mob on people. It's great. Same with like Starship Troopers now. Starship Troopers Extermination is so much freaking fun. I haven't played it in weeks now because I've been trying to make myself play Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm trying to focus on the games I'm trying to, you know, talk about. Oh, excuse me. Oh, thanks for following, Patriot. Appreciate it. People are like the game blogs who only play the games that they politically relate to. Oh, yeah. Oh. You have 1,005, probably only launched about 10% of those over the last 16 years. Well, Avernum, the thing is, I've only been a Steam user for like the last 4 years. I did go ahead and like, I started buying some games the first year I built my computer, but I really was still playing on console, Xbox, Nintendo. $500 shared between me and 4 other people. Yeah, no, 1,000 is insane. I'm friends with people that have thousands of games, but you know, they don't have kids, they're not married, they have an expendable income, and so for them, they'll just buy games and it's not a big deal if they never get around to playing them, or they have the time and they eventually will go through every single game in their library. I mean, hell, I have freaking Escape from Tarkov. I even, after purchasing it a couple years later, I went and bought the like extended you know, stash, the bigger stash to, you know, start off with more items and shit, and I never play that game anymore. And yes, Avernum, good morning to you as well. Let me see here. Let me get caught up on YouTube. Oh yeah, my Streamlabs is deciding to lag behind. That's fine, whatever. Yeah, that's absolutely insane though, 1,000 games. So, She says this, I pray he finds Jesus. Smash replies and said, I never did that. Quartering quote tweets and says, you losers are calling Melanie Mack Anita Sarkeesian because she made a very mild criticism about Coomer games. Again, Coomer, Gooner, perv, that's what they're referring to. And this is all about freaking First Descendant, okay? Nobody cares, you're melting down. Play them, don't play them. She never said they should be banned. She's Christian. Obviously, that guides her opinions. Okay. The people that are criticizing her because her opinions are very hypocritical. She's allowed to have her opinions. The same way that I'm allowed to have my opinions and say a lot of dumb shit, right? I'm allowed to say a lot of dumb stuff. And I'm allowed to get roasted for it. Nobody's above that. Everyone is entitled to their own asinine opinion from time to time. And you're going to get roasted for it, you know, regardless of how good of a person you think you are. Smash replies, says a false narrative was invented here to try and prove a point. Keep simping, of course. Quartering says, everyone who agrees with the woman's a simp. Impeccable argument. Who could possibly defeat such a well laid out reasoned argument for being such a huge floppy pussy about a nothing burger? God, these two, they were going at it for a while. Smash said, you're trying too hard. Quartering says, you're doing Olympic levels of stretch lies and cope to make this a big deal when it isn't. Melanie isn't the issue. Sweet Baby Inc. is. Smash says, at this point, they're becoming the same picture, two sides of the same coin. You're reaching so hard to be offended by nothing is pathetic. Enjoy this drama farm for 2 days, but you're being retarded. Everyone can see it. Smash says, you're mad at me for saying I don't agree with the YouTuber trying to censor gaming. Now, the thing that I have noticed is a lot of people are referring to this as censorship. I don't think Melanie and I don't think razorfist, who did jump into this also, are either one trying to censor people, because they can't. They can't censor what you what you play. They can't. They can't censor anybody. They can shame you. They can criticize what you're playing. They can make arguments. I've seen razorfist make arguments about the fact that a lot of these studios are owned by Tencent, and so they just try to prey on the weak-minded by giving them sexy characters and, you know, filling their game with nothing. But at the same time, games like Black Myth Wukong were also very good. So, and that one didn't even have any of that, you know, the Coomer stuff in it, or the Gooner, or whatever term that they want to throw out there. So the argument is there, but unfortunately there are other people who are saying, no, we're going to ban your games. We're going to cancel this. You're not going to be allowed to have this anymore, right? And that's the significant difference right there, is the approach that some people are taking. Seems like it's drama farming for content. It very well could be. It very well could be, and the reality is, unfortunately, it doesn't help anybody in the long run. Because for the people who can't discern that, for example, you and I might look at it and say, this seems like drama farming. For the people who can't discern that, they're going to forever be like, again, we're talking about the whole Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 thing, right? The backlash to that has led to hundreds, if not thousands of people online claiming that they're not going to support the developer, they're not going to play the game, they'll never give the studio their money ever again, over what could have been just simply a misunderstanding from the very get-go. Now again, if the game turns out to have a bunch of weird shit in it, I'll be the first to tell you guys, because I'm going to play through it, or there's going to be other people who are doing a review of it, and it will come out. But there are plenty of people who have come out. Wolfheart, I think, is the RPG player. He played through it the other day. He said, look, I played like 40 plus hours. There are no unskippable scenes in the game. So that right there, that's another rumor shot down. So all I'm saying is, like, yeah, we can look at this and say it's just drama for clicks. It's just people doing it for Twitter monetization, trying to expand their audience, whatever the grift is, if you want to call it a grift, you know? But at the end of the day, I think it hurts everybody. I don't think it does anybody any good. You have 300 plus games on Steam, played most of them for at least an hour. Most of them through your teenage years. Your Steam account's like 12. See, my Steam account is still relatively young. I think it's 5 years old at this point. Quite a few of those came from early Humble Bundles, and you bought a lot more. CSGO Lounge was a thing. Oh my god. Yeah, rigging the matches gave me a lot of skins to sell. CSGO is a whole thing. Yeah, so I am currently streaming on... I was doing it typically on Fridays is when I do my video game streams. And I am playing through it. And I've already pre-ordered Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So... Right, so, can I actually put a link in the chat? I'm asking you guys if I'm able to do that on my own YouTube channel, because I don't usually type much in chat when I'm on stream. Let me pull up my tweet here, okay? Because yes, I know all about that, and it was not the developers who changed the code of conduct. It was the publisher. And I have a whole video on that talking about the person that did it, all sorts of that information. So let me see if I can grab my tweet here real quick. Let me see if I have it. Here we go. I'll just grab that one. Copy link. Here we go. So if you want to know who the person is that was actually behind the code of conduct change, that's the person right there. Can we agree that Trent is a maniac in this case? I think I need to have a personal conversation with John Trent and John Delarose before I go publicly and call either of them maniacs. At best, I would say at this point, I'm not sure that I do want to continue in the future when I have time writing for Fandom Pulse. Just because I don't appreciate the approach that they have taken. Whether it's sincere or not is up to, people to discern for themselves. But I don't appreciate the approach that these guys are taking, and so I don't know that I want to necessarily be like associated with them, if that makes sense. Ooh, that wasn't too far. Goonergate more retarded than Gaygate. Okay. Gaygate got a lot of votes, though. If I left it up, it might actually pass Goonergate. But yeah, Trent isn't hurting anyone. He's just making us look stupid. I agree with that to an extent, yes. It does hurt everybody. I've tried to explain this to the Trent reports. They're real people, and they're making these great games that are as far as from woke as you can be, and you're hurting these people, which discourages the sort of content being made. No, John Trent, I believe, is sincere. I 100% believe that he is sincere in his beliefs. Like I've said, I'm not here to question anybody's religious conviction or his moral opinions or any of that kind of stuff. I 100% believe he is sincere. I do not agree with his approach. I don't. So, makes perfect sense. There you go. Okay. I appreciate it, Matt Adam. So anyways, yeah, basically, you've got quartering and him going at it, and this has just gotten so retarded, it's not even funny. But again, the quartering does this. So Smash, he's not above getting into Twitter drama. I mean, I talk to Smash in DMs. So I don't think I would be like hurting his feelings if I said that he definitely engages in Twitter drama to his advantage from time to time. The quartering does the same thing. So maybe for these two, because they're both very large accounts, both big YouTubers, for them, this is just another day at the office, right? No big deal. I do say that for the people on the outside looking at these two guys fighting, look, I've got people in this thread here, okay? This Professor Savage guy. I've never once in my life interacted with this guy. Today I discovered he has me blocked. From everything I see him share on Twitter, I can't imagine why he has me blocked, right? But this is what happens. People online, like my block list is basically non-existent. I think I only block like bots at this point. I don't think I've ever actually blocked anybody. Most people, I just mute. If you annoy the crap out of me, I just mute you and I move on with my day. I don't tend to block anybody. So this is what happens to me. It's like I'll be in the middle of a conversation and I go through and I see someone, oh, blocked. I'm like, why? I don't even get it. I've tried to say they're diluting the meaning of hidden woke agenda. Anything that's done subtle and doesn't go against the historical context isn't even a problem. He blocked you, he took it personal, but I don't know who this guy even is or why he blocked me. I'm just saying, like, I'll be going through a Twitter thread and I'll find people that have me blocked, and I'm like, WTF, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Can I refresh Streamlabs chat? I think I can. Because if anybody's chatting on Twitter, I'm not going to see it. Your block list grew quite a lot these last few days. See, okay, now the exception I will make if somebody's being like outright, let's say sharing, because again, people like to harass other people in your Twitter threads or whatever. If somebody's like sharing disgusting images or that kind of stuff, oh sure, I'll block them. I had one guy doing that months ago, where based on what he was posting, we were on the same side, but he's posting like these scat, videos and stuff on my replies. I'm like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? So I just blocked him. It's not anyone's problem that you want 100% Christian values and take helm with the anti-woke. I mean, That's the thing. We now are in a situation where even people who have the same religious convictions, if you will, are seeing this from very different perspectives. And unfortunately, certain people are so extreme that it's gotten to this point where it's like, we must have Christian whatever. And it's like, what? So, Quartering shared based players tweet here, says this is gay. The tweet, of course, was 2 decades of woke made us, a lot of us forget how weird and annoying religious extremists are. Thanks for the refresher. And of course, it's a couple Phantom Pulse articles that John did the last couple days. And see, here's the problem I have. So if we go back to razorfist's quote here, I don't have any disagreement with razorfist as far as like the actual conversation around the quality of the content in games, some of it being just degenerate and some of it being actually, good content. He's criticized, like I said, a lot in the past, these games coming out of Asia that are just there for microtransactions, that they're backed by Tencent, they're funded by the CCP, and they're just designed to rot your brain. So in a way, I agree with him to a certain extent. The problem is he's gotten lumped in with Melanie here, and because I know that they've both been on Side Scrollers podcast together, he probably feels defensive of Melanie. Why? I don't know. It's like, guys, I tend to take the opinion that most people online who are big YouTubers and content creators can defend themselves, right? That's just the opinion I tend to have. So that being said, another tweet from Melanie that Smash quote tweeted that's now been deleted. I didn't see it at the time. I don't know what it is. Here's a video of Melanie Mack that I have not listened to yet, so we can listen to her speak for herself in her own words and see what she actually said. Razor called Witcher 3 woke because of dialogue with Miss Love, the hunter, with a single line about him being gay. Really? Lust perversion is like a disease, and this is why 4 years were so crazy. What did Lord of Narcissus say? Who's Lord of Narcissus? I don't think I know who that person is. You only block harassers and stalkers that are trying to dox you. Yeah, literally, that's the only type of person I will block. He actually called it woke, huh? I mean, look, here's the thing. I should have brought this up. Let me see if I can find this quickly in my bookmarks, okay? Because this is very important. I've seen some very good, before we move on, before we get into this entire situation about, Gooners and what's is and is not moral and everything else. Somebody today shared a fantastic definition of woke, all right? Because they're always like, oh, define woke. You guys can't even decide what woke really is. So hang on a second. Let me see it here. Here we go. Carrie Smith, she had a good one. So she says, woke people ask me this all the time, not from good faith, but from bad faith, meaning as soon as people define it, they block and refuse to acknowledge or converse. On the off chance you are sincere, here's woke defined in my own words. Woke, aka social justice, identity Marxism, is a mutated form of Marxism built around power and identity instead of around wealth and class. The woke believe the best way to view the world is as a struggle for power between identity groups, whereas Marxists believe it's a struggle for wealth among class groups, and that we should redistribute power between identity groups in order to reach equity or utopia. Woke is an illiberal and authoritarian ideology because it supports and justifies censorship, violence, and government overreach over individual rights. It's also a collectivist ideology instead of individualist, meaning it tells us to view people as group members first. It tells us to judge and treat people differently based on what identity groups they are in. White supremacy is another collectivist ideology, for example, but liberalism is individualist. And liberalism does not support censorship or violence. Okay? So there you go. I don't understand. Now, you can morally disagree with degeneracy in games or movies. You can morally disagree with homosexuality. Those are all things that I would agree with you on. Okay? But to call a gay person in a game woke is absolutely the wrong meaning. It absolutely is the wrong terminology. Okay? Shad, actually, Snake, what I don't have his video because I don't want to play the whole thing because it's like 16 minutes long. I actually have Shad somewhere here. I've got him talking about it before his video. So we'll read what Shad said, which is really funny because the guy's Mormon. He's not even like Christian, he's Mormon. But yeah, it's really interesting. Let me see here. Gotta make sure I pay attention to Rumble in case Nova or somebody else drops in here. You say in games it's politicization of themes and characters. Okay, so in that sense, can we figure out if there's a way to agree or disagree on this? In that sense, what is inherently woke about a gay character? I'm not talking about the promotion of gay characters. I'm not talking about like a game where, for example, The Last of Us 2, the game idealizes transgender and homosexual characters and relationships in the game. A game that simply has the presence of gay people in it for a storytelling tool. What is exactly that's woke about that? Okay? Because you can't actually say it. You don't have to agree with their lifestyle to not think it's not woke, you know? Woke has to do with cultural Marxism, with race struggles between, you know, oppressor and the oppressed, and again, destroying the traditional family unit, replacing it with daddy government. It goes hand in hand with like communism and Marxism. It has nothing to do with whether or not a character in a game or a movie is gay. You can have a game full of heterosexuals. It could be a woke freak show, 100%. You can even have a game with exclusively gay characters that can be based. It'd be far more difficult to write, I would say. Dragon Age Origins isn't woke, but has gays. Exactly. Yes, if the message of the game is LGBT propaganda, 100%. And I think that's the distinction people are missing. You have people going off the deep end going, oh my god, Daniel Vavra and Warhorse Studios, they're woke because a gay person or a gay scene's in the game. And it's like, guys, we have missed it so much. And I'm not saying you have to agree with the lifestyle or any of that other stuff, you know? Yeah, okay, 2 gay guys living openly and happily ever after in the Middle Ages, yes. That is, again, because another thing about Marxism is the cultural revisionism, rewriting history. 2 gay people living in the Dark Ages, 100% would never happen. So, okay, prime example. This is beautiful. Perfect timing. Tekla, that was perfect comments, okay? Pirate Nation shared this earlier today. And Pirate Nation, I follow on Twitter. They have a lot of good memes and occasionally good information. They shared this from the Kingdom Come Deliverance forums, okay? Just listen to this a second. In medieval Bohemia, you wouldn't want to say you're gay because then you'll die. No, this is incorrect. Medieval Bohemia was very tolerant towards gays. An active gay was considered okay. A passive gay was not encouraged. Oh, excuse me. But being one would definitely not lead to any consequences beyond some teasing maybe. Oh, okay. Okay. Besides, how would you like to know that real Sir Radzig was a passive homosexual? He's recorded in the so-called Prague Book of Names as a lover of King Wenceslas, just not a favorite, but a lover literally. Also, the correspondence between them confirms that, so it was not extraordinary to be gay in medieval Bohemia, nor was it dangerous. Okay. Of course, he wouldn't shout about it at every corner, but what sane person would do it in any epoch or epoch? What happens in one's bed is their own business. Okay. They share this, Pirate Nation does, as if this is some sort of gigantic piece of evidence or own that further is going to inflame the situation going on with the game, right? This is from May 19th, or possibly May of 2019. This is an old post by a random user. So I said, random idiot on a forum thinks it would have been okay to be openly gay medieval Bohemia. How is this news? If people are being cautious about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I understand, but this ain't it. This is a random user. Joined the forum in 2016. But people post that stuff thinking that this is some, official statement or view from the game. And the people in the comments below were honestly freaking out going, oh, that this game is cooked. It's like, guys, this was an idiot on the forum for the first game. Okay? Yeah, the Old Testament has rulings to throw. Yeah, exactly. It didn't get much better in the Dark Ages. There were plenty of people who were closeted through all of history. And then there were other civilizations, again, like we've talked about Greeks, where I think it was a little more open. Or maybe the Persians. There's stories about how Alexander the Great was homosexual or bisexual or whatever, But you played the game? The game's good. So far, the game's great. And they're trying grooming everyone else, even kids. I mean, that is a problem, Barbarian. But it's not everybody. The thing is, it's not everybody. And the thing is, too, Barbarian, this is a mature rated game, okay? This is not a game where they're trying to sneak something like, look, I've got a clip I saved. Neon from Clamfish TV shared. There's a Transformers Kids TV show where the Transformer identifies himself as they, them to a girl who's she, they. That is targeted at children. This is a mature game. This game has all sorts of themes that are not okay for kids. I would never let my kids play this until they were actually older, right? My oldest kid, until he's, 17, 18 years old. There's no way, So if there's a gay character in a mature game, I don't see that as them sneaking into a children's program or a children's game, you know? Greeks were not. Metatron has a great vid talking about that. Yeah, I wasn't sure because there's always that rumor that you hear a lot about, like, the Greeks, but yeah. Many of us have played Mass Effect, so I as people did the ability to play gay Shepherd bother you, they hadn't even known that was an option. Black people living in the North Pole in the Middle Ages, that would be a problem. That would be... Yeah, that confuses kids and grooms them. Oh, that's the point. The point, and I agree with Barbarian on this respect, the point that these people have, the point is that these people have done as much as they can to get into classrooms and education and the government to have an effect on children, because these people aren't having kids of their own, because they're not biologically reproducing. They want to get a hold of your kids and twist their minds early on. There's no question in my head about that. You know, some adults think like kids, then they join the Democrat Party. You're not wrong there. As for historical examples, you're looking at 0.0001% people. I don't think I'm making this up. Of people who ever lived. If one gay guy had easy back then, that doesn't mean everyone... Yeah, exactly. That is not a standard way of living for most people. Imagine being a peasant, okay? Not a noble, not somebody who was high class, high society, who was protected by your own, you know, entourage of knights and nobles and all that. Let's say you were just the average peasant and you tried hitting on another dude. You'd be dead. They would take you out back and pummel you to death. There's just no way. You would never survive, right? So, I don't know. I just have such a hard time when people start sharing this kind of stuff as if it's like somehow proof of the game having stuff in it. So, to get back to the topic at hand, let's play this clip that Smash JT shared. He says, "Please, Melanie, I beg you to listen to yourself." And again, I haven't listened to this yet, so let's see what she actually said. Because I'm not going to put words in people's mouths. I genuinely want to know if there's more to this than just, God, that's a lot of eyeliner. Oh man.
And I have the same stance on queers as I do these Gooners.
Is this anything pornographic? I would say no.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I get the point already. Wow.
Say no.
Yes, what you're doing is shameful. Yes, I think this stuff is shameful and I don't want it in my entertainment because it's shameful and it's hurting society.
I mean, dude,
have these people played Final Fantasy? The people complaining, have they played Final Fantasy at all? It's disgusting and it's perverted. No, I don't want it.
Because this, especially like some of the, I mean, Final Fantasy, we've seen outfits like this and even more revealing. It's just,
it's art.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I hadn't watched that video yet. I didn't want to, like, you know, jump ahead and ruin my initial hot take on this. Wow.
Do I think that people participating in these activities are losers? Yes. It's not even pornographic at all. I don't see the problem. But you know what? It doesn't mean you have to always be a loser.
Stellar Cheeks is fine, but the other isn't. Well, it goes back to the idea, like I said, that for some weird reason, there's this notion that First Descendant has girls in thongs twerking. First of all, it's an Asian game, okay? It's an Asian game. Twerking, I don't think I'm going to offend anybody if I just say it. Twerking is a black thing. White girls do it, but it's a black thing. The Asian market is not geared towards... I'm going to say some shit that I really probably shouldn't. Okay. You guys get the idea, okay? Oh, I got a few tweets from V as well. She's one step closer to becoming a feminist. What she is right now is completely hypocritical. What she is she doesn't understand what she's even saying or what she's talking about. I played First Descendant. I played it twice, maybe 3 times. You can play First Descendant as a normal human being. You play the game, the characters are what they are, they're just like Stellar Blade, without doing anything at all different than the way you would play Stellar Blade. Except in Stellar Blade, there are situations where you climb up ladders and stuff, and you're literally looking up her ass cheeks, okay? That never happens in First Descendant that I've ever seen. And granted, I only played it for a few hours, a couple times. So, you know, I didn't get into, like, every possible scenario you could in the game. But as far as the game goes, it's just an over-the-shoulder third-person shooter. Just say it. You know what I'm thinking, Fizzy. I'm not going to say it. It's nasty is what it is, though. Just nasty. But this take right here, good God. Alec Baldwin's finger says consistency is where the majority are having issues with Melanie. All the people I know don't hate her or want her canceled. That's where I'm at. They're just confused by the contradictory content and tweets that she's been putting out. Oh boy. So, razorfist quote tweeted this, okay? And said, "You're more full of shit than only porta potty at Coachella. No shit, she doesn't care if women are hot. Her favorite game's Tomb Raider unless there's a hidden Lara Croft twerking scene. Again, twerking. I'm unaware of. That's not a gotcha. It's evidence you exaggerated her complaint." And I asked here, I'm like, I'm still confused about where the claims of twerking are coming from. Nobody can answer this question for me. Where's the twerking in First Descendant that is apparently so evil? Pogs are awesome. I got no problem with pogs. I just don't like twerking. I think twerking is stupid. I think it's weird. Doesn't look
Are the best way to
doesn't
show
look
someone how much
attractive
you
in my opinion.
care. It is like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, "Hey man,
In the
I
fan
love
service, you don't really care. It's
This
nice.
many
Gameplay is
dollars
needed.
worth."
We all need more temperance in our lives. Virtues.
Yeah, and Patriot, thanks for the two. You know, honestly, like I said, I'm the first person to say, you know what? No, I would think it's unhealthy to play nothing but sexualized games 24/7. I don't have a problem with people I don't even have a problem if she was consistent on her own opinion. I would have no problem with her saying people shouldn't consume this kind of content. Okay, that's her opinion. That's her moral take, and I can respect that. The issue that I have is the hypocrisy, you know? Yeah, Melanie says Lara wasn't created with lust in mind. Yeah, that's again my entire point. So this one here from V, the one that I had said that she's basically taking the same approach as Alyssa Mercante. V's like, let me get this straight. The entire YouTube community is united, making huge progress in entertainment against wokeness. Then this chick that was an SJW yesterday and dresses in a manner that would frighten my Christian grandma joins said community and is welcomed. Since then, starts parroting the talking points, finds her way around influential people in the community. Then all of a sudden, she starts preaching about the male gaze and attacks video games with arguments that if it were used by Alyssa Mercante, people's reaction would be 100% different. Now she's quadrupling down with so many wild takes that she even doesn't know what she wants. But what's clear is that there's now infighting in the once united community. Like, honestly, if I was planning a subversive psyop from Kotaku's side, this is exactly how I'd have done it, right? It's absolutely insane. Yeah, no, dude, the thing that Melanie either doesn't understand or is being dishonest because she realizes she's kind of got... Look, I've said before, we all have bad takes. We all have bad takes, right? We all have, like I had one about Kingdom Come Deliverance. In the thread from Daniel Vavra where he was talking about the game itself, I made the point, look, so if the game gives you the option for Henry to be bisexual or get into a gay relationship, but that you don't have to go that route. Now, we're just speculating. We don't even know that that's the situation, right? I'm just kind of throwing worst case scenario, your character's now in the possible situation where they could be gay. That's worst case for this game right now. You don't have to do it. Just like in Fable, you could be gay, but you didn't have to be. And then I realized after the fact, people started telling me, dude, in Fable, you're not an established character. You can legit start from the beginning and do whatever you want. I'm like, okay. So I was wrong. My opinion, while well-intended, I was clearly wrong about that. You know? I'll admit it. I had a bad take, and I told several people, you're right. There is a difference between Henry being an established character and then making him bisexual, and your character in Fable being open to have whatever kind of relationships you want. Sure. You know? Yeah, and Barbarian, I am not here to roast her, to tell her what a terrible person she is or anything. I don't do that. You know, I do that with genuinely awful people like Alyssa Mercante. I just think Melanie has either gotten so like down a rabbit hole or I don't know what's going on with her. When she got exit velocity with her reach, it got out of her hands. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that could be an incredibly, definitely, like, it could be that situation. Hey, Big Ship, how's it going, dude? They made Womb Raider M rated for a reason. It was absolutely, even in the Polygon era, meant to be sexually attractive, even pointy booba mode. Yeah. The quality, moderation, or self-restraint. Huge emphasis on the self-restraint. People act too quickly online, be it for views, money, or just lack of discipline. Exactly. It's going to get worse with AI. Yeah, AI is going to make things a lot worse, and it already has. No, yeah, okay, I've said this before. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, was not made for women. Go back to, when did the first Tomb Raider game come out? It was PS1, right? So what, like 1990... God, when did the Xbox come out? I was like 13. Let's just say like mid to late 90s, okay? Go back and look at how many girls, if you can statistically find like the actual statistical data, how many females, not people who identify as female, actual females were playing video games in the mid to late 90s. Lara Croft and Tomb Raider were not made for girls. They were not made for women. They were made for young boys, teenagers, the male gaze. That's what it was for. I don't understand the argument of anybody trying to rationalize that Lara Croft was never intended to be sexualized or just to be eye candy or anything else. Yeah, there's nothing canonical saying he has no interest in men. I guess that's true, but still. You could play Kingdom Come 1, never romance a woman. That is also true, I guess. I mean, I even think it's a feasible option, all that Henry is our Henry. Yeah. Girl Gamer didn't even kick up until the 2010s, for sure. About 7, yeah. No, I'm telling you, guys, I'm sure many of you are in the same boat I am, you know? She's having a bad spell, she should be calling out worse things. Exactly, Barbarian. Like I said, I'm not going to be one of these people who's going to call her a fake gamer or a grifter or say she's a fake Christian. No, I will not do that. I'm not doing that for anybody in this stream that we're going to talk about. I'm not going to judge anybody's personal beliefs or morals or convictions. I'm looking at this going, I can't figure out what the hell is going on with some of these people. I just don't get it. You take that back. Super Mario World is one of the best Mario games ever made. Okay? Super Mario World is freaking awesome. If it was the gateway for girls, so be it. Because that is one of my all-time favorite games. You may not even think it's... Yeah, because again, the whole Bohemia homosexuality thing, Dark Ages probably wouldn't have been a very easy thing to have happen, you know? So that being said, where are we at now? We've had some responses. So let me see, I want to go through Shad's. Let me find Shad. We'll bring him over here. Because I don't want to get into the Satanic Panic thing yet. That's a whole nother side to this that has gone off the deep end. Shad said, it's becoming more and more evident recently that many Christians, including myself, could understand this statement better. Neither do I condemn thee, go and sin no more. Calling people losers and gooners for what you perceive as sinful is condemning and attacking them. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye. Jesus did not call upon us to attack or condemn others for their sins, but called on us to love all men and invite them to come into Christ. I think we can get lost in our desire to stand up for Christ and his commandments and forget his example as not condemning people for their sins. Indeed, the people Christ more openly condemned were the moral Puritans of his day, who would condemn others to be seen as more virtuous. Woe unto you hypocrites, for ye have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. Woe unto you hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup, but within are full of extortion and excess. Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. I'm not saying people are condemning others for their own vanity. I think it's coming from a sincere place of devotion to Christ, but that they are forgetting his mercy and understanding. Neither do I condemn thee, go and sin no more. The idea that attacking people for their sins is a manifestation of tough love is asinine. If you truly love them, you would be trying to connect with them, not push them away or make them see you as their enemy due to personal attacks. This will only make them hate Christ and Christians in general. Sin is our enemy, but the people who sin are not. If your actions in fighting against sin causes you to attack people in a misguided sense of tough love, you have failed as a Christian. I have failed at this many times and will try and do better. Condemn sin, not sinners. We are just as imperfect as anyone else and need the grace of Christ just as much. We do not condemn people for sinning differently than you. Doing so will only push people away from Christ and see Christians as puritanical busybodies that are arrogant in their own moral superiority. And see, here's the thing, dude. Here really is the thing. kind of in line with what Shad talks about here from a actual like religious perspective, I look at the content that's being criticized and go, you're going to criticize one game for some excess cake, if you will, in the game, some cheesecake, but you're not going to go back and call out anything and everything that has ever had a gay character, a sexual scene, violence, drunkenness, lewdness, theft, murder. Look, what about the Hitman games? Are the Hitman games based in Christian or are they not? Like, this conversation has gotten so out of control. What happened to my YouTube chat? I can't see it. There we go. Dude, I side note, if the internet craps out for some weird reason and we lose connection, I apologize. I had a router that I bought at Costco years ago. Beautiful. The router works fantastic. It's a great, like, it's huge. It's the biggest, most beautiful router you could ever imagine. It's huge, right? Well, we switched accounts, put the internet in my wife's name to get a better deal. Then they told me to swap the routers out after a month. I could go back to mine. Since I've gone back to mine, the last few days, the internet has been a shit show. I have no idea what's going on. So if anything does crap out, I do apologize. People love to fight and disagree. Hey, Oblivion, how's it going, dude? Did Natsuno Sky change his name again, or are you here somewhere? I don't know. Oh, it's right. He's Nightcore. Yeah. I felt like Nightcore and Natsuno just kind of merged into one. Well, Smeg, here's the thing. There are people who do take a moral stance against games like GTA. I had one more of that, like, my upbringing was more of a perception of, like, that game is bad, right? Now, don't care. But there are people who genuinely have a moral opposition to GTA. The problem is, the same people right now, and this is where you could get into calling people grifters, okay? The same people right now who are going to criticize one game for a little bit of excess fan service, a little too spicy, a little too sexualized, are going to call GTA 6 woke when it releases, but not condemn the entire series that has led up to this point. They're going to complain now if GTA 6 has a trans character in it, or gay characters or whatever, when the game has always been degenerate, because it's like a satire, right? It's supposed to be do whatever the hell you want. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. So I can't remember what Imam said, but he said Muslims are people of the book while Christians are people of many books.
Presents are the best way to show someone how much you care. It is like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
Keeps eating your RAM.
Is a game too evil for having gay scenes, but you play quite happily stealing and murdering, a whoring at the bathhouse. This is why I can't trust them.
Patriot, that's been the point I've been trying to make ever since this whole thing kicked off. And dude, appreciate the 5, man. You're awesome. That's 100% what I've been saying. You know, and in fact, let me see if I have the tweet here. Where is this at? It was from, I think it was from Based Gamer. Let me see if I've, Based Player. Here we go. So, again, thanks for the 5, dude. Appreciate it. Goonergate evangelists, let's stop half-assing our faith. Lust is only one sin. Let's ban all the degeneracy. No more games with the following. And so this is quite an extensive list here you're going to see, okay? This is a long list of games. Cool pagan gods, Elden Ring. Magic or divination, D&D. Murder, Assassin's Creed. Prideful characters. Is that Vegeta? I can't remember how to pronounce that game. I never played it. Gluttonous characters, Kirby. Envious characters, Kefka. Looks like Final Fantasy VI. Wrathful characters, Kratos. Sloth. TBA. What is TBA? Sloth. Why can't I think of which one that is? Demons or Witches, Baldur's Gate 3. Stealing, GTA 6. Drunkenness, Red Dead Redemption 2. Tattooed characters. Oh my. Think about how many there are, right? Oh, from Dragon Ball Z. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Dude, I'm not a big anime guy. As many people who follow me on this channel will tell you, I am clueless when it comes to anime other than, like, to be announced. Okay. Oh, to be announced. Oh my god. Is that a real game or is that just being silly? Yeah. No. And I said you left off Theft and Vandalism, Legend of Zelda. I'm like, oh, never mind. You had GTA. Kata says they can't like Mass Effect because they are alien races with different religions and you can be gay in the game. And this other person here, Super Dungeon Robot, says, listen, I understand what you're getting at, but most Christians are totally on your side. I personally trying to make a non-woke mecha TTRPG for reference. There's some people out there who are either bad actors or just not helpful, but most of us just want to help if you'll let us. And he says, I know I'm one of them. This is directed towards a specific group of internet fad Christians. And again, like I said, I'm not going to go out and accuse people of it being a fad or a grift or whatever. I'm just saying that it definitely seems like there's a lot of inconsistency, you know? Very appropriate, honestly, TBA for a sloth, yeah. Unless it just truly means like a game that hasn't come out yet. I'm not sure if it's like a game title that I don't know, or if it's just a joke. This guy here, YouTuber Mugen Lord, that I don't... Is it Mugen Lord? I'm gonna say Mugen Lord, that sounds better. He had a pretty good take on it also, from a less religious perspective, more... TIB awesome. Sloth could be Skull and Bones and Duke Nukem Forever. Took a literal decade and were passed around between multiple devs because nobody wanted to finish them. Yeah, well, I mean, I get that, but you're also talking now about more like the personality of the developers rather than the game itself. There, we'll talk about like Hellblade, you know, Sloth, or the walking simulators. Any game that's a walking simulator for slothfulness. I'm surprised he didn't have any of the Life is Strange games on there, because those are all full of gay and non-binary and trans characters. Yeah, that's right, Nightcore. I think I saw some posts from you today. Oh, it's Japanese for infinity. With the rising food prices, they're literally looking to moralize so hard they add misery to poverty. Mugen is a fighting game made by fans and stuff. Oh, okay. So it is Mugen. All right, cool. You unsubscribed from JT. He curses all the time, Guddled. Does he curse in his videos? I don't know. I'm subscribed to like everybody with the exception of a few people in these threads. I don't tell people who they have to follow and who they don't. Look, there are people that I used to watch religiously, no pun intended, and those that I don't, and I've kind of switched up. I tend to be like seasonal with some YouTubers, kind of like music, you know? Okay, so Mugen says, you have to understand that culture war content and discourse is a goldmine when it comes to monetization. Some know how to play the game, while others don't, and some people just want to see the world burn and don't care for either side of the social war. I believe that 100,000%. That some people are just trying to see everything torn down and burned. Some people within the space don't even believe in what they say, no matter what side they're on. They know that it's easy to rattle the nest, and people will come out and begin to lose their shit over whatever new issue arises at that moment. The culture war has become a team sport where you must defend your side no matter the inconsistency or lack of integrity that is at play at any given moment, which is why a lot of the big players in the space won't call out people within their own camp. They will turn a blind eye and look the other way, and so will their audience. They look the other way because when it boils down to it, the main factor revolves around money. Calling these people out would burn bridges with said individual along with the people who show loyalty to them. The individual will lose access to their audience, and losing that audience means losing money, and that's a very, very valid point. This in terms calls their integrity into question. Does this individual really stand for what they believe in, or is it lining their pockets and building an audience is all they care about? I will say it again, question everyone and even question me. Think for yourself and don't allow others to think for you. I had one guy last year at some point that legit freaked out and told me I shouldn't be making any money on YouTube because this is all about the culture war, and if you make money, you're just a grifter. It's like, well, this isn't my full-time job, but this takes a lot of my personal life and time. Like, if I make a little bit of money on ad revenue every now and then, or a super chat or a membership, it's like, I'm not going to apologize for that. So when I got, you know, sponsorship offers from Instant Gaming that lasted like 3 months and then that was it, it was all done, I wasn't going to say no to it. Plus, I cover video games, so it was a gaming related sponsorship. So for me personally, I was like, I'm not gonna turn it down. If it was, I've had offers for like the virtual dating apps for like AI companions, and that's like, I'm not gonna touch that shit. No way. Not even for all the money in the world. But yeah, no, the losing money thing, I think, is a very valid point for a lot of people, that the engagement creates increased ad revenue, and so the increased ad revenue puts more money in their pocket, obviously. So this in turn calls their integrity into question. Okay. Throughout 2025, I'll be switching up my content. I will continue gaming news, but I really want to highlight more indie games and alternatives, and that's what I've tried doing. That's why I've been trying to do... Oh, she's been asleep for a while. I've been trying to do indie streams every Wednesday, but I've been so busy with Christmas and Thanksgiving and family and work. I've been trying to stream a new indie game every single Wednesday, consistently for months now. This booty view isn't a culture war, it's just a distraction from an actual movement. Yeah. But not as much as the previous year and a half. I want to focus more on games that make me happy. This shit is draining. I 100% feel that. It's not fun, especially when I thought I could make a difference by shedding light on the problems. I think I talked about this last night, guys. For those of you who are here, that were here last night, I talked about this, and I told my wife about this. Like, this started off last year, where I started going down rabbit holes and looking into stories and investigating people and seeing what a real problem we had in the gaming industry and entertainment as a whole, with the activism, the DEI crap, influence from the CCP, from Tencent, all this stuff, right? That was spurred by an actual genuine desire to try to help fix this industry. What it's turned into now, it feels like, is more infighting than actual good being done. And I hate that, because I feel like a lot of these studios, we're seeing studios coming out and saying they're going to ditch the body type 1, body type 2. They're going to stop pushing progressive messaging. They're done with the DEI crap. They're not going to work with some of the consulting companies. Like, we're seeing a lot of these like positive things happening in games, and a lot of great games are actually being, rewarded for the effort to make, the fans happy. So we should be celebrating right now, and yet I feel like I'm just beating my head against the wall sometimes. I think that's a very legitimate feeling for a lot of people when you get into these situations where all of a sudden the infighting gets to like this level where it's just nonstop chaos and, bitching and whining at each other about, oh, well, you're just a perv, or you don't like this or that. And it's like, guys, come on. So many games I play, older games this day and age, when they start just streaming games, you'll be forced to play it. Yeah. Yeah, and Black Myth Wukong is from CCP, so it's like, even that one being a win, you still have to kind of take it with an asterisk next to it. I know, Nightcore. I will put that on the list, okay? We have to do... Nightcore's not on Discord, dude. Being a Puritan just throws it away. And I think you can honestly... retain your morals and your ethics for yourself and outwardly. Like, she has a Bible reading channel. Melanie's doing plenty of good other things, in my personal opinion. Again, assuming it all comes from a good place, that it shouldn't require this overarching need to tell people what they can and can't have, This isn't just like, this goes back to the idea of it being censorship. It's not just, I disagree with this because reasons that are valid. It goes to where I don't like this and you shouldn't be allowed to have this either, Well, dude, Hook, gaming was the last arm, really, is what I feel like. I feel like gaming was the last bulwark against this crap, which is why it was so big last year. This movement, this pushback against all this crap within the gaming sphere is because of the fact that it was the last thing left, Things that'll start improving in 2025. New great games will happen, but many old developers are getting dropped. Yeah, we're far from done, unfortunately. It's especially when I thought I could make a difference by shedding light on the problems, only see what goes on within the space. A lot of people don't want real solutions. It's about money to some of these people. Some people just want to be pissed off and not do anything about it. Some people want to dictate how others should enjoy their gaming experience while sitting on the virtual soapbox. A lot of people had made the culture war into their identity, and everything they see is through the culture war lens. I try to bring nuance to the discussions, and I hope that I do that from time to time. I know sometimes it's easy to jump on a bandwagon, especially if I'm like, oh god, I gotta get a video out and I don't have a whole lot of time. Here's an easy topic, we'll just go through that. But I have always tried in the last year or so to try to have my own opinion on things, even if I'm wrong, even if it comes out and I'm like, oh, well, that one sucked, or nobody liked the video, or got downvoted, or didn't get any views. I still want to have my own take on things. I don't want to fall into this. That's why I have tried so hard to try to get people to calm down about Kingdom Come 2. Because guys, yes, we have to be careful. Wait and see what the reviewers say. Wait and see what people whose opinions you trust say. But this desire to just burn another studio down when these are the guys who we should be looking at and going, these guys these guys are the example of a studio that cares about their players, you know? She shouldn't do game reviews and having Bible reading at the same time. I don't see why she couldn't have 2 different channels. I have 2 different channels because I don't want to talk like hard politics and news events like, you know, Putin assassinates somebody or Biden starts World War III. Or I don't want to talk about that on this channel. So I have the podcast channel my wife and I started a couple years ago. But I don't necessarily have an issue with her having 2 channels for one or the other kind of, you know, content. You're either on our side or on the other side. There's no in between. Dude, I have fallen into that crack. So I've got so many people attacking me on Twitter for very tame, you know, opinions on things the last few days over Kingdom Come 2, where they're like, oh, he's a Jew. It's like, oh my God, can we stop? Like, I don't think, and I get it, nobody's above criticism. I hate the term anti-Semitism. I think it is a blanket term that gets thrown around a lot to distract from honest criticism sometimes. But I don't think Daniel Vavra is intentionally going to make his sequel woke because he's a quarter Jewish. I just don't. I don't buy that. But again, that's unfortunately some of the crap that just gets levied at people right now, you know? But seriously, look at the history of the studio. Just do some basic research. Yeah. The rise and injection of woke movies and employers doing race-based actions is all cross-synergies. The thing is, though, when it comes to like corporate hiring in DEI, that's straight up illegal. So you come to a different situation there. We're talking about injecting DEI, you know, let's say identity politics into games with woke, you know, agendas and LGBT agendas and all that, the woke mind virus crap, right? We're talking about things that affect the story of a game. We're not talking about things that affect legitimately who's hired for the studio. Who gets hired at the studio, just like Disney or Amazon or any other company, it could be illegal if they're employing DEI practices to hire people because that's racism. When it comes to the game, deciding to make your game woke isn't illegal, it's just a stupid move. So that's the difference right there. It's just a bad decision. He says, can we just game? How can we fix this shit? Seriously, how can we allow people to enjoy what they enjoy without ridicule or resentment? Gaming is big enough for all kinds of players and genres. Even when it comes to woke games, they're allowed to exist, but don't force it onto the culture itself. Look, I've said this before. The Life is Strange games are definitely woke, okay? Nobody really cared about them because they were not marketed to the mainstream audience. And then when I did that giant article and video where I covered, you know, the developers and how they got sabotaged behind the scenes by the activists, and it basically took a good studio that was just, you know, they were tasked with the, you know, making the double exposure game. They were attacked behind the scenes for not being woke enough. Kotaku wrote a hit piece on them. People tried to oust the story, the narrative designer because he wasn't woke enough. He was too, you know, he pushed back too hard against the feminists in the studio. Like, even a game that was woke was still not woke enough for the studio that was making it. So, okay, but I don't think she necessarily needs to give up the Bible reading channel. I think that would be a sign that she's not being authentic if she just decided, well, this is causing me issues, I'm just going to ditch the Bible reading channel and go back to games. That would make her seem inauthentic. You create a culture and ultimately affects the development of the game and it all looks this. Yeah, exactly. So the hiring of DEI, actual DEI hires is the problem, right? It's a thought-numbing term, but if someone's a quarter, I mean, come on, even Uncle 80 said a quarter or less is passing. Oh my god. Woke localizers ruin manga and anime. Oh, for sure, Nightcore. I've done a lot of reading on that and articles talking about it. Easy to make game on and unroll at 5 when your DI hires have no creative vision. The game all look the same. Dude, we were talking about that. I was over on, you guys know Sungrand Studio, right? Jarrell over there, developer. I was watching his live stream. He was working on a game. And we were talking about this. He pulled up, I mentioned Hellblade 2, and he pulled up a trailer for Hellblade 2 because he had never played it. And I said, Hellblade 2 is the prime example of what is wrong with Unreal Engine 5. It has the perfect amount of hyper-realism, and definitely you can tell it's not real, to create that uncanny valley situation, and you can tell it's being used by people who don't properly know how to use it. And that's really the issue. If she bailed on the Bible reading, it meant she was there for a different purpose. Yeah. Yeah, Jarrell's a cool dude. Really nice guy. He in 2024, I think he's the guy that I like the most as far as like a success story on YouTube. He's just positive. You know, he is so uplifting and so positive. Really cool dude. Max designed to push all our simp buttons. Why it doesn't work? You know what's funny about that? I don't. That's a lot to chew on, Tekla. That's a really interesting thought. Me, I'm not simping for anybody. I simp for people who I find funny on Twitter. I simp for people who I engage with on Twitter that share funny memes or like, you know, dad jokes or spicy like borderline semi-racist kind of stuff. But I find it funny. He's positive and loving in a way I can never be. Don't say that, Patriot. I think we all have it in us. We all have potential for good and evil, in my opinion. I think some of us just have to work a little bit harder at it. So I think Mugen had a really good take on it from a not necessarily truly like religious perspective, but just a generally good take on the situation at hand, kind of what we're dealing with. So then we get into... I hate to even cover this, because the last thing I want to do is create a situation where John somehow sees a clip of this video and thinks that I'm trying to help cancel him. I'm not trying to help cancel him, okay? I'm not. I'm not trying to cancel anybody. For me personally, I don't have any use for canceling people. When we cover videos or topics that are like, you know, lunatics that work behind the scenes at video game companies, people who have connections to these organizations and nonprofit companies that are designed to push a racially biased agenda, those are people that we expose because it explains the connections that they have in the video game industry and why the games all suck. I don't consider that canceling. Canceling would say, don't go buy this. No, you have the option to go buy it. How you spend your money is up to you. Oh, Days Gone. I'm going to pick that up eventually. I think I might even have a free copy of it somewhere. I don't know. I follow Leonarda. I follow Leonarda. She... I don't even necessarily think she's funny. Her stand-up comedy is not funny. It's not funny. But the things that, like, the way that she tweets, where I just shake my head afterwards, I'm like, I can't believe I'm laughing at this. That's where I find the enjoyment. Let me see here. More games should be like Days Gone. Graphics are better than now. It is a very bad take. Patriot, you're talking about Sun Grand. I mean, in a way I can never, because I'm very autistic. I love people a lot, but never clicks with people. Pretty much in a glass box. I mean, dude, maybe there's a way you can work on it. Hopefully, maybe it'll get better. Well, the thing is, my Asian peers, I wouldn't even bother buying it because I'm not going to play it. So if they gave it away for free, I wouldn't even play it because I don't want to. Cover Dawn Walker. Well, Dawn Walker is another situation. We talk about woke doesn't equal gay and gay doesn't equal woke. Everybody is already turning on Dawn Walker and Rebel Wolves because one of the guys has a pride flag in his bio. Now, I have two opinions on that. I hate the pride events. Hate it with a passion. The pride events, Pride Month, Pride Week, Pride Day, all that shit can go straight to hell because I hate it. Because most of it is just about celebrating queerness. And queerness means go out in the streets, fling around your little ding-a-ling, do all sorts of debauchery in front of children, and I'm not okay with that. So for me, the pride flag, I've got conviction issues with the pride flag, right? I don't care for it. However, if you're just saying I'm gay, well, kind of weird to announce your sexuality on Twitter. But that doesn't mean that one person who's gay at the studio is going to ruin the entire game. All gray looking, aged, and withered with the foot. Oh no. Yeah. So for me personally, the pride flag is that's a big no. That's a hard line I draw where I don't get into anything that has pride events, pride flag, pride this, pride that, you know? I just won't. I refuse to. I find it all to be disgusting, and it's worshiping a sexuality. I don't do it. Francis. Oh, is he the vampire guy? Or is he the character you play? I haven't looked into Dawn Walker very much, other than we watched the trailer and that was it. I don't know. I know you have 30 days to save your family. I had a really funny tweet. It didn't quite go viral, but it was pretty funny. You know the thing from, was it Friday with Ice Cube? Where he's all stoned staring at the camera. And the developers are like, okay, the game, you have to save your family in 30 days, but you also don't have to worry about time because doing side quests doesn't move time forward, but the game is timed, and so it's pretty confusing. Yeah. So the pride stuff for me, a pride flag in your bio to signal that you're gay, okay, maybe he's just trying to be open about it, I don't know. Interesting, so he's basically like symbolic of Jesus. Vampire Jesus, huh? That's really strange. His mouth looks like a wood chipper. Dude, that face is terrifying. Like, I get it that it's a cutscene and cutscenes aren't in-game graphics, but if that's an indication of like what we can expect out, the game should be really, really good. I'm actually hopefully like going to be positive about the game. We'll see how it comes out. So this was the take from John today. There was never a satanic panic. It was a mainstream media psyop to remove Christianity from the culture. That's why our culture sucks now, because boomers fell for it. Don't be like boomers. All right. Barbarian, you are correct there. Because he loathes Christianity. Interesting. We're talking about that Brancis character, Patriot. So, this quickly got community noted. Satanic Panic was a real thing. Evidence and testimonies of people who lived during that time can easily be found. Okay, so before we move on, context. What I think John's trying to say here, and I've seen a few people share the same opinion, is that people like Tipper Gore, at the time, Democrats, some Republicans, decided to use this as a way to cover their own evil actions by basically painting, if you will, painting all things as anti-Christian or satanic in order to actually do away with, I don't know. It's this rabbit hole, guys, and I love rabbit holes, but this is one I haven't looked into. So you're just gonna have to, you're just gonna have to fill in the gaps for yourself, okay? What he's saying is it's a situation where it was a psyop, and it wasn't really the Christians that were trying to condemn things. It was the government and Tipper Gore and people like that who were trying to paint Christians as psychos who were going to call everything satanic, I guess is the idea. There was a lot of missing and dead kids if it wasn't a thing. Yeah. All right. So, my own 2 cents on that. My own mother is almost 70. Okay? She's almost 70 years old. To this day, she believes Harry Potter is satanic. To this day, she probably still believes the Matrix movies caused the Columbine school shooting. These kind of things, whether it was a psyop that caused it, or whether it was just people all freaking out, you guys got to remember, back in the 80s and 90s, shit was awesome. It was great. We could literally get a rumor started, and it would change form like a dozen times within a week before it got back to you. And that was the coolest thing about living back then, is that we didn't have the internet to fact check everything. And so you could create any story you wanted and people would just fall for it. And again, that sounds terrible, but there were so many myths and cultural legends that were created back then because people couldn't fact check anything, right? The Diablo, the video game, yes, I remember that one. There were people, I think it was the Westboro Baptist Church, those nut jobs, or it was some other church before that, because it was like 2001, that were burning Lord of the Rings books when the movies released in theater. There were churches burning Lord of the Rings in 2001. Okay? D&D. All I knew about D&D as a kid, I never played D&D, I never got into the tabletop RPGs, but all I knew about D&D as a kid was that it was like a gateway to the devil, right? So this one got 1.2 million impressions. This one, and let me refresh and see if it's up to more than that now. It's sitting at 1.2 million impressions. Once it got community noted, I think it kind of quieted down. But a lot of people had the same response, right? Also, this guy's saying Pokemon was satanic. Yeah, Pokemon was a big one. Internet's killed the imagination. It's a shame. It really sucks. Oh, Skeleton. Dude, don't even get me started. And before we even get into like the rest of this Satanic Panic stuff, what I think we also have to address, which again, this is not to condemn, condone, uplift one over another, but there's a situation within the anti-woke. So let's separate the anti-woke. Okay, let's look at it like people that are conservative who voted for Trump versus people who are not conservative who voted for Trump, right? Okay, so take like the Gamergate side of that. In the anti-woke camp for Gamergate, you have people who are moderates, like let's say Neon here from Clownfish TV. He's a lifelong libertarian Democrat, right? So he's got opinions that are both right and left-leaning. You've got people who are religious, Catholic, John Trent, John Dela Rose, Protestant, as far as I believe, Melanie Mack and razorfist are both Protestant. Within that, you have a schism, because the Catholic side of it already doesn't think that Protestants are actual Christians. Correct me if I'm wrong. They believe that Protestants are heretics, and so it's bad enough when you have the anti-woke eating itself, but in some degree, you actually have it microcosms, like there's like further fractures into different groups of, well, we're all anti-woke, but then you have the religious anti-woke and the secular anti-woke, and within the religious anti-woke, you have the Protestants and the Catholics who don't get along, so then that further fractures it. And what we're seeing now is just so many different unhinged hot takes that are doing, again, far more damage than good, right? So Josh Ray here on Twitter says, as a Christian who's been playing D&D since 1980, what in the heck are you talking about? Boomer Christian absolutely went stupid seeing demons everywhere. It was a self-inflicted wound. The amount of damage it did to the cause of Christ was staggering. Neon says, I was there and can confirm. The irony here is that D&D was created by a bunch of guys who mostly self-identified as Christians. That is also true. I believe Gary Gygax was a Christian. 100% spot on. I lived through the worst of this, having to contend with the school system, parents being idiots, and local church. Had to recover about $200 in RPG books from a dumpster for one of my friends due to his fanatic dad. It was all tabletop RPGs, video games, music, tabletop war games, comics, etc. D&D definitely got a bigger hit, I feel, over some, but so many things were called satanic. And see, again, people blaming Tipper Gore and the Democrats. But again, it doesn't matter who started it, it still happened. It was still a thing. Okay? I wasn't allowed to, like, when I grew up, the only music I could listen to was Christian, like old school Christian. We're talking like Kenneth Copeland tapes, Sandy Patty. Oldies on the radio, like 60s and 70s, like Beatles and the Monkees and stuff, and like early 80s, 90s country. That's all I listened to. I didn't listen to easy listening, soft rock, pop, metal, anything secular, right? There was virtually nothing. We're all in the same gang, dog. Yeah, exactly, Aaron. America's all crazy with those different churches. In Poland, we believe in PDF Pope. Well, yeah, unfortunately, America's a big place, dude. America is a big place, right? Even Harry Potter got banned and attacked for witchcraft until ignorant actually read it. Yeah, and like, you know, I've watched half of the Harry Potter movies. My daughter has read all the books. No Satanism in there. In fact, it's a very good story about good versus evil. But if if somebody wearing a robe and casting spells makes you think of demons, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, see, no, now I listen to Blink-182, Sum 41, Linkin Park. I got into all that once I was a teenager. So you got to remember, I was born in 86. I lived essentially on my own from the time I was 17. My mom, she was going through a divorce with my dad. She moved in with the guy that she then married. And so when I was 17, my brothers and I, we got our own place. And so once I was 17 and I started getting a paycheck, as small as it was, buying my own clothes, buying my own music, that's when I exposed myself to the world. And I was like, whoa, there's other music out here. Now, if you look at my Spotify playlists, like, I've got every type of music. I'm not a big rap guy. No, I'm hip hop and rap. I just don't have any use for. The only rap I listen to is Linkin Park and occasionally like an Eminem Rihanna duo, and that's it. I don't care for rap. Although Linkin Park is good. White guy rap. No, but you know, it's so funny how different things were then versus now, where we have this revisionist history where we look at things and go, oh, it wasn't really that. And it's like, no, it really was. Like how To be fair, Kim, it wouldn't be magic. It'd be, you know, supernatural power. But yeah, same idea. In most fantasy, magic has to come from somewhere. And in most fantasy universes, magic, I guess, would come from whichever being or whatever created the universe. So, although if you go back to like Dragon Age, magic comes from the demons, doesn't it? I can't remember. Yeah, faith isn't magic. If we're talking about just, again, whatever universe you're existing in was whatever creator created it, then that's, yeah, but different things. He got on Bad Whatever Takes. This one's pretty funny. Heron of Alexandria. I don't think I follow her, but I've run into her a few times. I think she's another YouTuber. Says, rewriting history is never a good look. We were there and remember it happening. Pokemon, Harry Potter, Yu-Gi-Oh, and lots more. He tried claiming that Harry Potter was always Christian and right-wing when anyone growing up in the 1990s and early 2000s always heard of church groups calling it satanic. I was in many different churches, moved around a lot, and Harry Potter was considered satanic. Even here in Germany, we had some culture magazines reporting on the Harry Potter Satanic Panic in schools. There was a faucet center that my sister and I attended as kids, and that was rather weird. Pokemon was demonic, but Harry Potter was okay. And I remember the daycare berating my parents, telling them that they were terrible parents for letting us play Pokemon. My wife remembered that one. Romanian V saying the idea that religious zealots were obnoxious is a psyop may work on boomers, or zoomers, sorry, but a lot of us lived through those times. Let me see here. No, not that one. I thought I had Epic Mike's. Let me bring up Epic Mike's post. Here we go. Epic Mike, who is also a Christian, said, "What are you talking about? I grew up in church during the 90s. Every popular trend was immediately blasted as satanic and demonic." Correct. I grew up in church during the 90s. Pokemon, Dungeons and Dragons, Harry Potter, Marvel. My mom wouldn't let me watch or play like Marvel games. We didn't read comic books. None of those things. Okay? Pro wrestling, Barney, Teletubbies, Gargoyles. All these are 100% my upbringing. Correct. Me and Mike could get along. There were books, documentaries, chick tracts, all declaring this stuff would usher in the Antichrist and would open demonic doors into children's lives. I saw firsthand kids and families ostracized from churches and cut off from friendships because they let their kids read Harry Potter books or own Pokemon cards. The church became so fearful and spiteful of anything in pop culture and did virtually nothing to offer any alternative to young kids. We had VeggieTales, which honestly, for programming, VeggieTales was awesome. I'm not going to criticize VeggieTales. Bible Man, Adventures in Odyssey, and Chronicles of Narnia, and smattering of terrible games and book series that just ripped off popular trends instead of creating their own culture. All true. All very true. In the church group, they'll call Harry Potter a satanic, 100% blacklight, yes. I can't remember if it's primary Orthodox like Eastern Europe or Catholic like Southern Europe. Are we talking about... Poland? I think Poland is... Hey, Tekla, correct me if I'm wrong. Is Poland Orthodox or are they Catholic? I think they're Orthodox. I don't know. Never been to Poland. I don't know. Funniest thing was that being spread about Harry Potter was JK was teaching real magic in her books. If only Alohomora would actually unlock locks. Oculus Reparo could fix glasses. It'd be saving lots of money. Yeah. No, it's absolutely insane. And I don't know if this was just him trying to get a tweet to go viral. Roman Catholic, okay. I don't know if this was him trying to just piss people off for monetization, if he honestly believes it. And like I said, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know what his actual opinion is from this tweet. All I know is it's not helping. Neon from Clownfish says, I called the right-wing infighting over video games and nerd culture a couple of months ago and said it would actually get worse if Trump got elected. And mind you, Neon is not anti-Trump. He's a libertarian independent. Once the common enemy is vanquished, temporary allies tend to turn on each other. Most downvoted video in recent history. And that's his video right here. Let me see where else. Yeah, then we got this guy. This Eric who's jumping in. This is, again, the problem. These dudes are doing so much damage. Well, and Melanie, she's a girl. That they're actually getting the people that they've been fighting for months, dunking on them because of our really bad takes that we're having right now. Several sects of Orthodox. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about Catholicism or Orthodox to tell you the true differences between them. All I know is Those who do are very devout and very, very firm in their belief, we'll say. So then we had Smash JT, let me see, getting into it with John Trent, because why not? Okay. God, I'm gonna have no friends when this is all said and done. Yeah, Neon, but dude, Blacklight, Neon has been that way for forever. Well, okay, Neon's not a leftist. Neon is a 90s Democrat, okay? Now, yes, that means left-leaning, but I swear, based on the opinions I've heard him and his wife, Geeky, say on their channel, and I've been following them a long time, Neon is not some, like, left-wing lunatic. He is very much, he has moved center. He's like a center libertarian now, which, again, libertarians are still very liberal, don't get me wrong, but definitely not a leftist. So, okay, this is where John Trent enters the scene. So this is where now John Trent, and I haven't gone through and combed through all these guys' tweets. I don't have that kind of time. This is just the stuff that I've seen. Oh yeah, he's a fascist nowadays, exactly. The quartering says, tattling to me, and this is stupid. People that were tagging the quartering about Melanie Mack, again, stupid. What's the point? You're bringing him into this for what? What's the point of that? It doesn't make any sense, right? Over the window, forced Neon to the center. Yeah, that's basically what happened. Tattling to me because one of my co-hosts said something you don't like while not even on my show is peak woman energy. I think that's fair. 90s Democrats are further right-wing than the Republican Party now. Pretty much. Smeg, I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you at all. Guys, you know, here's the thing. I use Twitter because I like the shit posting and I like the interactions, and it's a good tool to get information. No worries, Oblivion. I appreciate you hanging, dude. You're gooning to Melanie on a different tab. Good lord, dude. Tekla, you need Jesus, okay? Oh man, okay. So, crap. What I was saying though was that basically at this situation, you guys, my YouTube viewers, the people that I can actually have civil conversations with, you're the only people I actually need when it comes down to it, as far as like what we're doing here. Those of you who show up, those of you who are, you know, commenting on the videos, who tell me I'm wrong when I'm wrong, who reinforce me when I'm not sure if I'm right, you know, that's all I need, right? That's I don't need the approval of anybody, whether it's Smash JT, whether it's Melanie Mack or John Trent or the quartering or whatever. I don't need anyone else's approval. I just need to know that my audience is going to correct me if I'm wrong about something, or, you know, push back if I have a bad take, and that I'm just going to be true to myself. And that's all that really matters, you know?
Presents are the best way to show someone
I need to shorten my alerts.
It is like this
they were set up for Twitch. I never got donations on there.
I love you. This many dollars worth.
We need more focus on virtues than sins nowadays.
Yeah, no, for real. And like I said, that's why even though we cover a lot of like news related stuff on Mondays aren't super positive streams. We cover a lot of like what's gone on throughout the weekend and all that. That's why I've been trying, like I said, to do a lot of like the independent developer streams on Wednesdays, try to promote games that I like on Fridays, try to do things that are positive to help the gaming community, rather than just worry about like all the bad stuff. You know, try to focus on the good things more than just the negative. If I could be like Sungrand, man, I would. I can't fake his positivity though. Like, I try to be more of a positive than a negative person. I tend to be more like center. I'm more of a realist. I try to be very logical. If I could just have Sungrand, Jarrell's positivity over there, damn, I'd be set. But cloning is not in my my wheelhouse. So thanks for the 2 again, Patriot, dude. I really appreciate you, man. He says, get out of here with that. All it does is make me want to have them on the show even more. You've got me mixed up if you don't think I stand by my people, which, to be fair, I don't have any problem with the quartering standing up for that. Yeah, oh, there's absolutely nothing, dude. There's just nothing nowadays. Oh yeah, Jarrell is just so calming. Like, I'll go maybe a few days or a week and I won't keep tabs on like some of his more recent videos, and then I'll see when I'll play it. And dude, just listening to that man talk is calming. So, John Trent responds with his own opinion on it. Says, it shows they fear her and her message. Okay. I don't know sometimes what to make of this kind of stuff. Because to be honest, this seems like I believe in my heart of hearts that John Trent is a legitimately, probably a good person and believes what he believes. Right? But like this kind of stuff, saying they fear her message, that sounds like a LARP. That sounds like a really cheesy line, like you think you're some like actual crusader in the 1300s sacking Jerusalem when we're all having Twitter. This is a Twitter argument. This is if that was like a Marvel movie, that'd be the cheesiest line in the entire movie. You know, it makes it really hard to understand what is going on in all these people's brains, right? So Smash replies, I don't think anyone fears her message. She's just coming across as extremely hypocritical and letting down a lot of her longtime viewers. I don't care if she's letting down her viewers. Again, this is Smash's take on it, and that she's directly contradicting herself. I do care that she's being hypocritical. It sounds like something you'd type under a Warhammer 40k video, right? That's what I'm saying, is it's like, dude, we're not literally in the trenches. We're not in World War II dodging bullets and getting, attacked on every flank. So, Trent responded, and apparently these guys were DMing. Apparently, I'm so thankful in this situation. I haven't gotten a DM from anybody, and I've told you guys. I mentioned it on Discord. I'll be straight honest and tell you guys right now. I am part of a Twitter group. Okay. This is a very stupid fight. I'm part of a Twitter group that has about a dozen people, all very big, very important people in the world of Twitter and YouTube, some of whom we're talking about in this stream, okay? That were put together kind of like the Gamergate Avengers, if you will, all right? And not a message barely has been sent in the last couple of days in that group, all right? And I'm considering just quietly opening the door and closing it behind me, leaving that little DM group, and possibly not interacting with pretty much anybody who's there ever again because of all this. I'm over it. I'm tired of the disingenuous crap. I'm tired of these people either projecting or attacking each other, like with just the level of viciousness. I'm like, how old are you? These guys are all my age or older. Like, come on, guys. Like, what's going on? Laissez-faire and rearing, then complaining about it being society's fault and the outcome is poor. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate because we got to a point in society where we were complacent, letting the television or public school teachers, teach our kids everything they need to know in life, or outsourcing it to the government. So anyways, these guys apparently were DMing. John Trent says, you should broadcast what you really think about transgender propaganda. Here we go. Now we're going to get into the DMs. Hang on. Smash replies, he quote tweets and says, transgender people are mentally ill, and as such, it has no place in the overall landscape of gaming. I think that's perfectly fair. Oh, dude, it's been unbearable. Snake, it has been... The last couple days, I've been looking at this going, how did we get to this point? And the issue I have, here's the issue I have. Like, I will engage in Twitter beef for about 5 seconds until I realize that either I'm not making my point clearly or the other person's not listening, and then I walk away. I just don't. I just walk away and I'm like, okay, the argument's over because I don't care to respond. I don't care if I win an argument online. I truly do not. I don't. I have walked away from so many arguments with morons on Twitter because it doesn't matter. It means nothing. But every one of these people is trying to have the last word and prove the other person wrong. Too much negativity and fighting makes everything worse. Foundation of all their virtues is faith. We gave the will of the country to progressives in the 60s, and I'm happy we're taking... I mean, that is a good thing. Asian, I am happy that we are trying to right the ship. Unfortunately, who's at the wheel? That's the problem. Nightcore, are you one of the comments on the post? I think I saw you somewhere in one of these comments. I saw a good one from you earlier. I just can't remember where it was at. I don't see it. This person here says, as a Catholic, these people embarrass me. This is not hard. Truth wins. Let people speak. As long as the playing field is even, truth always wins. True game will undersell based game, all other things being equal. I think that's a very fair take. So here's what was being said between these two people. Okay. On top of him saying transgender people are mentally ill, which I think I have a personal, no problem with that take. I probably 100% agree with that. Devs are welcome to create whatever the F they want. The market will decide and has determined to reject it wholeheartedly. It absolutely needs to steer clear from established franchises and lore with their self-inserts. Good enough. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a different post. Yeah, Snake. Arguing with people online. Oh, God, what was it? Arguing with people online is like winning the Special Olympics. Even if you win, you're still retarded. And I hate saying that because I think the Special Olympics are pretty cool, but it's a funny joke. And it's the truth. Winning an argument online, it's like, congratulations. No minds were changed. That's where, rather than arguing with people, I like to try to add context. I like to try to say, okay, I get where you're coming from, but just please look at this. Please think about this. If I know no argument can be won, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to share an offensive meme and walk away. Pull the pin on the grenade, throw, walk away. I'm like, I'm done with this conversation. I'm over. Said his primary is third cancel of Nicaea, but a lot of those virtues go back thousands of years prior. It's things our people do. So apparently this wasn't good enough. So John responds and says, post what you told me in DMs. Okay? At least John's not out here leaking DMs. So, hey, Wild, how's it going? I've won the Special Olympics, my gold medal rests perfectly on my giant tongue. That was early 2000s. I know, Smeg, but dude, come on. It still works today, all right? Showing my age. Early 2000s, I was like 16, man. Oh, God. All right, so John says, show people what you told me in DMs. And so here was the DM. And I didn't see anything else. I think this is the only one, okay? He told John, I think devs should be allowed to put in as much trans propaganda in a game as they want. I will fight against it, but not because of a religious moral compass, but a societal one. I have a heavy history in religion myself and am quite familiar with much of it. Okay. At face value, I have no problem with what Smash says here. Again, none of us have said, well, I'm not going to say none of us. Most people have said, I'm just not going to play games that have this stuff in it, which is what a lot of people are doing with Kingdom Come 2. This is where it's relevant. Most people who right now are knee-jerk reacting to what has been leaked about Kingdom Come 2 are saying, well, if it's got gay stuff in it, I'm not playing it. Okay, you're allowed to do that, to have that take. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction, especially since the first game had gay characters. So if the second game has gay characters, I assume it won't be any different. We're talking about a studio that has been very, very good for gamers for a while now. But okay, if that's the way people are going to feel, you can't change that. That's fine. I don't understand, other than saying he's not going at it from a religious moral compass, which is fine because half, if not more, of the anti-woke Gamergate movement is not religious people. They are people who are secular, pagans, atheists, agnostics, just not religious in general. Oh, you agree, good. You think John's baiting? I don't know. Can't even type the word metal. Oh, is that what you were trying to say? Okay, yeah. John took that as Daniel talking about all of his critics. That's not true. Patriot, you're preaching to the choir here. There was a Facebook post that came out today where he confirmed the homosexual content, calling people Nazis. I'm like, guys, he had an account LARPing as a literal Nazi, spurging out about Jews and other offensive words that I cannot say on YouTube over and over and over and over and over again. That guy was LARPing as a Nazi, whether he was a real Nazi or not. Vavor calling him a Nazi was not out of line. However, I get where people are saying you shouldn't blanket term people that. Absolutely, I agree with that. Do I think it was the best response? No. Is that going to make me panic? No, because he was actually having people attacking him for being a quarter Jewish. The funniest thing, this is the funniest thing. I've said before, I don't get into the Gaza stuff, the Palestine good, Israel bad, or Israel good, Palestine bad. I don't want to get into that. Do I hate the ADL? Yes. Do I hate how often the term anti-Semitism gets thrown around? Yes. But do I think attacking somebody over a game because of the fact that he's a quarter Jewish and lives in a place where he had people that were killed during World War II makes him, I just, guys, this is so stupid. So much of this crap is just so stupid, right? I feel like I'm going crazy thinking about this. Yeah. No, he actually had people, and I have people who are like, well, what's wrong with what he said? It's like, okay, so you're self-identifying as one too. Fine. Okay. Petty, but you stand slightly more with the Gooners because the devout seem to be out. No, Wild, I'm on the side that would get labeled a Gooner even if they weren't. That's definitely more where I'm at. I think that there are far bigger fish to fry than First Descendant if you really want to attack, sexualized games. So, but no, Patriot, I'm right there with you. I think that it was fair criticism, but people have been freaking out about it. So apparently this was a big deal. Let me see if there was a response to this. Wow, coffee and chocolate games got blocked by John Trent. Oh my God, dude. This guy he has a YouTube channel with his daughter. They play games together. That's pathetic. They do cozy gaming. Wow. Come on, man. John, that's weak. That's really weak. I think that there was... Where's the other one? John calls him evil. So, I think we gotta go back here. Where are the quote tweets at? People complaining about the fact that Smash is transphobic. Who cares? Oh my God. I think it's on this one here. Okay. So John says, this is why we fight. Fake anti-woke people are actually fine with wokeness. They are fine with propagandists exposing children to transgenderism. Nowhere in here did they talk about children. They will crouch it, I think he means couch it, in libertarian language, but they are fine as long as it doesn't affect them personally. This is evil. Evil will not be tolerated. Evil has no right to exist. So Smash replied and said, who said anything about children? There's age ratings. That's an entirely different conversation. John says, backtracking already, I see. Smash says, you're making inferences about topics and angles we did not discuss. This is disingenuous reporting. You should know better. John says, this is very clear. I think devs should be allowed to put as much trans prop in a game as they want. You made no distinction for age, and now all of a sudden you want to make a distinction. Why would you make a distinction? Is there something about transgenderism kids shouldn't be exposed to, but adults can be? Yes, adults can think for themselves, John. Adults can fight their own battles. Adults don't need other people to protect them, John. You think it's fine for adults being hammered with trans propaganda, but not kids? Why is that? Because, John, adults can think, can act with their wallet. Adults don't have to buy it. Look at the whole, okay, do you guys remember last year? Last year when Target got exposed for pushing a lot of like the Pride shit with like the tuckable swimsuits in their kids merchandise for Pride Month, right? People freaked out. My wife and I didn't go to Target for 6 months. Do you know what Target did? They caved. They hid their Pride merch. They pulled a ton of it. They stopped working with the guy that was like a satanic artist or whatever. They caved. They waffled the minute they realized people wouldn't give them their money. Okay? So the difference here, John, if he somehow ends up seeing this clip, I'm not attacking you, John, but the difference is that adults don't need protection like children do, and adults can think for themselves and can say no by not spending money on it. Children, like my kids who play Apex Legends, need to be told and explained what is going on in the world so that when they encounter something, they understand we don't believe this is okay. There's the difference. NS, you are alive. Dude, you picked a hell of a time to take a break from social media. The world is ending. Everything's falling apart. Just saw the insults for being Jew. Yeah, Patriot, there was a lot of them. It wasn't just one account. It was a lot of them. Is this being pushed into established franchises? They're really Trojan horsing. Yeah, Avernum, nobody wants that. And again, that is the main issue. Again, we can choose with our wallets not to support those companies. And that's what the 2024 Gamergate 2 anti-woke movement was all about, was not giving these companies our money. You know? That was the entire purpose, was to not support them. Well, Snake, here's the thing. It was my presence keeping the world together. Dude, I don't know. You disappeared for a couple days and the internet turned to shit, man. Okay. I don't think it's you keeping everything together, obviously, but man, there's some weird timing to be said. So, and Snake, here's the thing. You are 100% correct. Most people, by the time they reach adulthood, have never and probably will never gain critical thinking skills, okay? But it's not up to anybody else to protect those people if they are legal adults who are not mentally deficient, who are not mentally handicapped in any way. So, yeah. So anyways, Smash replies and says, honestly, it's Twitter, so I didn't want to write a book. You're trying so hard to catch me in a gotcha. I don't know what to tell you, man. Leave the kids alone. That was and always will forever be my stance. John replied and said, you're literally supporting the proliferation of trans propaganda. No, he's not. He said, I don't believe it should be banned, which is, again, saying that people are allowed to have their own opinions. Again, I don't like trans propaganda, but I believe the surgeries on anybody under 18 should be outlawed, and then they should look into whether or not the medical licenses of people who perform surgeries on people over 18 should have their medical licenses stripped, because, again, these surgeries are causing more harm than good, and the doctors are supposed to be causing no harm. So I think that's a whole separate topic, but still, that's side tangent. Smash says, I'm not your enemy. John's like, no, you are a person. You as a person are not, but the ideology you are espousing is. This is a funny one. Holy F, your two brain cells are battling for third place. You couldn't reach any harder if you tried. People called him out on this, but at this point, I think people got tired of the conversation. God, my head hurts. Oh yeah, they get money from BlackRock. Yeah, Wild, 100%. And like, I'm over here saying, yeah, green is the only race company you see, right? I'm over here saying I don't morally support the idea that we should just have straight up, you know, hardcore sexuality and nudity in every game, and that should be the only thing that exists. And guess what? You know the good thing? You know the great thing? It's not. It's not the only thing that exists, you know? We need unity now. Dude, for real. No, dude, hey, NS, take all the time you need, buddy. There's a lot going on with all this stuff that's pretty unhinged to catch up on, but dude, take as much time as you need. I'm just sitting here wondering how we glue these pieces together, because these people, everybody's nuking their relationships left and right with each other. It's just unreal. Gonna play some Kazan Berserk or something in some. Okay, dude. And yeah, a lot of these ones get money for BlackRock. Exactly. Yeah, NS is the chosen one, right? So Mugen Lord shared this one. This was over 7 years ago. Completely different Melanie Mack compared to what we see now. She looks happier here as well. I don't know if I would. We're all happier when we're younger. I don't know if that's the gotcha he thinks it is. I truly believe she's going through some inner struggles right now. Maybe she is. Turn to religion without hashing those things out or trying to make sense of it. I like this version of her, and I also noticed less tattoos. Well, this is when she was working with Jeff Keighley.
3-channel.
In the back, because they made all this magic happen, showing all your tweets, and it was just so awesome. And of course, Jeff, I want to thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Come on over here, Melanie.
All right.
Hang with us.
Because she was working for GameStop, right?
Crazy 2 days.
I think GameStop's TV channel or whatever.
A lot of games. What was your favorite game?
Oh man, Shadow of the Colossus being remade is just like blowing my mind. And Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I know. That was insane, right?
I don't know if I'd say she looks happier here. But like, I don't think that's a fair criticism because again, 7 years ago, I don't know what I looked like 7 years ago. To be honest, maybe I was just as grumpy and miserable as I am now. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack from that. Honestly, a lot. Your ears. Well, okay. To be fair, this is not a criticizing Melanie Mack's appearance or voice channel. I know that she's not for everybody. I certainly don't enjoy her voice myself, but I'm not going to go that far. TLDR, Puritans got mad about a booty shake vid, but what is the easiest way to post a game? Might not be woke, a clip vid of sexiness in it. Well, that's a fair... I mean, look, okay. But, okay, wild. I'm happy old because I found you do, and Barbarian, that's fantastic. And the thing is, we have to hope that everybody gets to that point in life at some point, but you can't berate and badger people into it. Otherwise, they'll never get there, you know? Not supporting things that you believe are evil or hurtful is one thing, but this legitimate, like, launching an all-out attack on people is absolutely insane. Only your knees hurt less back then? So mine's a back injury, Avernum. I've got a herniated disc that I've had for like 12 years now. And so for me, the back doesn't necessarily hurt so much. It's just everything else around it is just completely off. Someone wants to cross-dress at a gay bar somewhere, go for it, have your drag queens or whatever, that's fine. As I said before, things have their place. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to morally support it, Patriot, but again, I'm not going to say that they can't go do it. It's just like, well, you're going to make your choices for the way you live your life. I can't control that. To each their own, to a certain degree. That is more of a libertarian take, and I do approve of that to a degree. It's like, I don't... How do you explain this in a way that makes sense? I don't want to personally control, let's say the drag queen at the gay bar, right? I don't want to personally go out of my way and say, I'm going to make a law that a grown adult person can't dress in drag and go to a bar if they want to, or go to a gay bar if they want to. I don't want to be that authoritarian that makes that law. I can morally disapprove of it all I want to. And we have the free speech where you're allowed to say, I don't agree with your lifestyle, and I don't agree with your actions. But do I want to be the authoritarian to tell them, oh no, you can't go do that. I've decided that for you that's sinful, you can't go do it. No, that's not the way a free functioning society is supposed to work, you know? Unfortunately, when you get to go down like the libertarian rabbit hole, libertarians, anarchists, people that are like truly no government, no control, you go into a lot of like really dark areas there where I think a lot of people go libertarian, and I'm not saying all, but I think a lot of people go libertarian because they want to live completely awful, depraved, and sometimes doing horrible things to other people without anybody else telling them what to do. That's where it's like, I will never identify as a libertarian, even though I do truly hate the government and believe we need as small a government as possible. For the most part, what if something is harmful to society at large, you ban it? Drag queen at a drag bar isn't harming... Yeah, I mean... Well, I mean, you could... If you take the moralistic approach, Patriot, you could say a drag queen at a drag bar is harming society morally, but it's people who are already choosing to be there. So again, if you take the moral argument, well, they've already chosen to do what they want to do, whether you think it's immoral or not. So yeah, I agree. Putting a drag queen in front of children at a library is very different than a drag queen at a bar, where adults are going freely of their own volition. Again, it's apples and oranges. So there's that. Alec Baldwin's finger says, if you don't like scantily clad women in your games, don't buy any that have the ESRB rating on the bottom row. Problem solved. Again, sometimes the teen rating, you got to be careful because they will put stuff in there like the trans propaganda, but that's part of being a parent. Part of being a parent is knowing what's in your kids' games, right? Sort of laws that should exist regarding this should be to protect those who have yet to... I mean, that goes back to protecting kids, you know? Drag queen in a library about to turn into a drag show, yeah. But yeah, John went after a lot of people. This is where I'm wondering why he decided to go all scorched earth. Niche Gamer is not a Christian outlet. They share a lot of waifu stuff. They're a gamer outlet. They're a independent, you know, news outlet separate from like Kotaku and IGM and all that, right? Someone says, in this age of hyper-political strife, where every statement results in alienation of some group, I want you to know I will bravely take a decision or decisive stand to support the things that are good and heroically oppose things that are bad. Sarcastic, right? Niche Gamer quote tweets and says, us too, censorship is bad, personal feelings are moot. There is nothing wrong with the take that's politically center. As a consumer, speak with your wallet. As a creator, speak with your projects you cover, instead of alienating your audience with goofy takes for attention. Okay, fair enough. Again, I don't think this was even directed at anybody in particular. Let me see, the original post wasn't quote tweeting anybody. So legit had nothing to do with anyone. John posted this down here, a screenshot of Niche Gamer last year in March talking about how they had to be careful how they cover things because if they don't get access to certain things like other media outlets do, they can't cover things. They've covered the Sweet Baby thing and it cost them, unfortunately, he says here, we're already having significant issues and experience roadblocks regarding getting access to AAA titles because we covered the Sweet Baby Inc. stories alone, and it's quite unfortunate. Talking about Elon Musk, how, it shouldn't be acceptable for any company in the gaming industry to be racist and sexist, whatever. And John says, no, you don't, and shares this screenshot as if it's some sort of gotcha. So Jonathan White here says, and this guy must be from Niche Gamer, says, this was my tweet and I stand by it. We covered the story anyway, even though we knew it would lead to backlash, so your point is moot. You don't even play games except for Madden or NASCAR, so I don't even know why I'm bothering replying to you. All you do is outrage farm. 2012, it was don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married. Your kid can choose to be trans with my influence, he'll be a bigot. Yeah, the slippery slope went way off the deep end real fast. Which, okay, slippery slope. If we're going to be religious and moralistic about it, I understand from a religious perspective where John and John both come from. And by extension, Melanie, and probably razorfist too. Once you start saying, well, anti-woke shouldn't be anti-gay, I'm against the agenda, the Sweet Baby crap, the LGBT stuff, all these other things, right?
I enjoy being liked. I have to be liked.
Oh, dude, thanks for becoming a member. Patriot, you've been awesome tonight, dude. I appreciate you. But the thing about it is, crap, I lost my train of thought. The anti-woke movement was never explicitly a religious movement in the same way that John Delarose can say that D&D was always Christian because Gary Gygax was a Christian. Well, D&D wasn't Christian. It was just a guy that started happened to be Christian. He can also say Superman was Christian to try to get, engagement clicks and stuff too. I have no problem if he wants to do that. If that's what he's doing, that's fine. But it's just engagement farming. Everybody does engagement farming on Twitter. I do it to a certain extent, but I just try to get a reaction out of people. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. I love getting reactions. I don't make any money on Twitter. Last time I got paid on Twitter was like $14 back in November. I have made in the 2 years, year and a half, 2 years that I've been monetized on Twitter, about I'll be honest, probably about $140 to $200 total. So I have paid for my membership for 2 years. That's it. So if there's a way to engagement farm that is successful, that's not what I do. I do whatever I feel like on Twitter. Sometimes it goes viral. I'll have a tweet that gets 1 million views, and sometimes I get no interactions at all. So I'm not going to shame somebody for playing the game the way everybody else is playing it. But I do feel like this projection that some of these things are inherently Christian is very off the deep end. And so, getting back to my original point, when you go down the anti-woke pipeline and you go, okay, all of us together are in the anti-woke camp. Many are against censorship of any kind. Many are religious, many are moderates, many are conservative, many are not. You're not going to be able to claim that being anti-woke is also being Christian, because plenty of people who are anti-woke are also gay, or also even trans, or maybe furries, or whatnot. Lifestyles that Christian people aren't going to, necessarily approve of. You can't make the definitive statement that if somebody is anti-woke, they have to 100% line up with every moral belief and opinion you have. It just doesn't work that way. Oh, dude, Smeg, the age of consent thing is always going to be a thing that they try to go after. I appreciate it, Patriot. I'm trying my hardest. To not just be one of these guys who's like, oh, F the world, this and that. I'm just going to, fly off the handle and just try to make everybody else. I'm not trying to start any more fires than the ones we already have. Skeleton, I see it like the four squares, like politics. Yeah, you have people that are all over. You have the libertarian right, libertarian left. You have the conservative. Yeah, exactly. There's all that. I was just against grooming in video games, leaving the kids alone because young boys sneak and play. Yeah, you know. And the thing is, Barbarian, you can, as a parent, you can control the games you bring into your house. But at some point, you can only control your kids so much before they start doing things behind your back, and then you have to figure out if you can, you know, catch them before it gets too late. And then once they grow up and then they can do whatever they want to, you hope that you steer them on the right path, you know? But I don't even care if a game has politics in it. It just has to make sense for the story. I'm not I'm against modern day politics and agendas being crammed into a game. That's the anti-woke side of it. I'm not against a game that is political, inherently political, as long as the political story being told makes sense for the game that you're playing. Yeah, and Skeleton, the thing about it is, it's like we have so many different opinions about what is and is not suggestive. There are Christian, let's look at it this way. Protestants, Catholics, Orthodox, Lutheran, Methodist, Presbyterian, Seventh-day Adventist, Mormons. All these people are going to have different opinions, and individually, not just as a church body, but individually about what is and is not modest, about what is and is not appropriate for the beach or for going and wearing out in public. You're going to have the Mennonites, where the women are in full denim and bonnets from neck to their ankles. You have people who are Christians who go to the beach wearing a two-piece bathing suit. You know, everyone's going to make their own determination about what is and is not modest. So this whole conversation is so retarded. Whew. Lorena Creel, she works over at that Park Place where she doesn't work there. She's a YouTuber, but she also goes on WDW Pro and that Park Place's channel. She's like, don't like the game, don't play it, or demand the others do the same. These gamer Pharisees are the worst. Nure, the one that talked to the playtester about Dragon Age Veilguard last year, says, I don't understand why conservative Christians preach about sin and lust on the internet when they literally embody every single thing the Bible opposes. I think there's a lot of truth to that too. We already went through this list of games. Then you have Yellow Flash. I don't give a crap about Goonergate. Buy a titty game or don't buy one. I don't care. I think that's the most normal take you could have. I guess John Trent was getting into it with other people. Legal Mindset said, always stand against censorship and regulation, whether from the left or the right. Woke Christian movement is just the woke left in altar garments. John Trent said, you don't believe this? Just go back and watch your own commentary on Reedy Creek. I don't know about what that means. And this one is way too... I don't know. I can't read this one. And you can't zoom in on a photo. So I don't know. Actual dinosaurs? I have no idea. Is the game even good? Ash, First Descendant is okay. If it appeals to you, if something about the game actually like resonates with you and you enjoy the combat, it's fine. It's a perfectly fine game, right? It's if you know anything about like Warframe, it's very much in the same category as Warframe, but Warframe is better in pretty much every conceivable way. The First Descendant has prettier characters. That's it. That is truly the only difference. Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yes, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a fantastic RPG. Yeah, well, Ash, they're freaking out over both games is the problem. They're freaking out over Kingdom Come Deliverance because the possible gay character, and they're freaking out over First Descendant because the girl swings her hips around a little bit, which we're going to get into talking about hypocrisy again here in a second. Okay, here you go. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. One of those tiny raptors. Okay, that's interesting. Screenshot for ants. I don't know. V says, how exactly is he going to ban South Korea and China from making games and prevent people from buying them? The only thing they can do is continue the job of the woke by crippling America's own entertainment while Asia keeps profiting. So for all the Goon games that I like, Nikki and Stellar Blade are printing money while I've yet to see a single Christian game out there. This has to be one of the most delusional LARPs on the internet, trying to create dissent and make controversy just for clicks and engagement. Savvy artist Madam Savvy had said that nerd does not give a crap about anyone but himself. Pushing degenerate stuff means you just letting people make what they want. No one wants anything sold to kids, but he knows that. He does this to waste time just like leftists do. John Trent responded, "We will ban your porn hobby."
Are the best way to show someone how much you care. It is like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man,
Lugia.
I love you, this many dollars worth.
This is just a distraction. We need move on. If we're having this infighting, we are never going to win.
I agree, dude. I just don't know, what do we do? What do we do to get all these people to get off their ideological high horses? Oh, Ash, I try my hardest. There'll be times where either I'll be watching my Streamlabs chat and it won't update. That's why I have the browser. I actually have a browser tab open because Streamlabs, as much as I love it, is also ass. And so half the time, some of the chats won't come through or it'll freeze. And so I've got you guys brought up here. Also, I got Rumble, but Rumble's quiet tonight, so. Yeah, but Lugia, the thing is, how do we get all these people? I mean, look, maybe in a week they'll all calm down, but these people they're blocking each other, man. We were all working together, okay? We were all more or less working together. Like, we'll send some information back and forth. I'll get, let me get the camera back on. I figured it's been a while since I refreshed it. How do we get people who are now blocking each other over ideological differences or religious differences or moral differences to chill out and go back to the way they were a few months ago, you know? Beardo and... Oh, okay, but here's the thing, Wild. And once in a while, I'll forget to say thank you for it. And again, Lugia, thanks for the 5. Appreciate it, dude. The thing is that while I agree we need to get these people to stop infighting, how do we do that? How do we get them to calm down? I mean, people respond. I've tried not to feed into this today. When I've responded, I've tried to explain, look, people are upset about the hypocritical stance that Melanie's taking. Nobody should be attacking her over her religion or anything else, right? But how do you get the people involved in it to chill the hell out? Okay, but Smeg, good luck getting them to get off of Twitter, you know? Because all these people, like I said, I'm not making any money right now on Twitter. I've been demonetized. I've been banned twice for things that were wrong. I've lost monetization. I've regained monetization. Twitter has treated me like a redheaded stepchild, something my mom would say, right? Well, at this point now, these people with this controversy are all making bank off Twitter impressions, or at least they're gonna put a few $100 in their pocket in a couple weeks. That just encourages them to do this again, you know? So. Well, Patriot, you don't have to... Dude, I will read your chats, even if you're not paying for them, dude. The only time that will ever change is if there ever gets to a point where I can't read chat anymore because it's moving too fast, but you guys are moving at a good pace, so I have no problem keeping up. Dude, yeah, what? Snake, you mean talk like in real life? Since I've been talking to John, I feel like he's been slowing down a bit. Maybe he's still out of it. Feels like he's slowing. Well, he's East Coast, so Patriot, he's asleep. It's midnight. It's what, 1 o'clock in the morning here, 12:17. It's 3 o'clock in the morning where he's at. Though I have some new followers. My take meant nothing. I mean, Skeleton, I'm hoping. Look, I'm not telling people that they don't have the right to criticize Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. They have every right to do it. They have every right to criticize the way that Daniel Vaver has responded. They have every right to be hesitant to buy the game, to not pre-order it. Everybody has the right to do that. Unfortunately, these people have grabbed the pitchfork and they're going after this studio without even knowing for sure. Look, normally, the way this will work, because I've written a few pieces now and then for Fandom Pulse, and then I got my own website, listed and up and running, and I barely do much with it. I need to actually make merchandise and stuff that's worth buying on my website, right? But I also try to put news and stuff on my website too, okay? So once in a while, I'll write a piece for my website. John, because I was writing for Phantom Pulse at the beginning of the last year before we got moved to Substack, John asked me if I could write some more. I'm like, well, here's the thing, dude. I'm busy with real life, with work, with family, baseball season. I did fall baseball and spring baseball with my kids last year. On top of everything else, trying to make videos and once in a while trying to write articles. I'm like, if I do an article for my website, we could just, copy it for Fandom Pulse if you want to post it there too. Cool, no big deal. It's at the point now where it's like, I don't even want to keep writing at this point for Fandom Pulse. If this is the direction we're going to go, where every 5 minutes there's a new piece, the minute, like normally when we have pieces come out on Fandom Pulse on the Substack, we try to be more like fair and balanced. Yeah, we come from a conservative slant. We're more right wing. Several of us are religious or religious, base for our upbringing and stuff. But the few pieces that I read from John on the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 situation, he left out details that I would have totally put in there that give context to the way that Vavra responded, to the fact that the code of conduct didn't come from the studio, that it came from the publisher. The publisher is owned by Embracer Group, who already is a woke hellhole, all these things. But it seems like in certain situations, it's more important to get clicks than it is to be honest. And I hate that because we're supposed to be replacing the media. We're supposed to be replacing journalism with actual honest reporting, even if we're coming from a more right-wing or conservative bias. You're still supposed to present as much of an objective argument as you can. So, till we find out there was a clear subversion of expectations, yeah. It shouldn't be a target. Team Halberds. Let me see. You wouldn't know any of that crap, just YouTube chat, but yeah, your case is different. Right. Well, and Smeg, that's where I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm not blocking any of these people. I'm not mad at any of these people. I'm disappointed. To be honest, I'm just disappointed. I'm at this point where I was like, I just kind of want to walk out the door and close it behind me and not go back in, and then just do my own thing and still interact with people if I need to, whatever, but... Perfect timing, actually. You got PS5, been playing Stellar Blade, Horizon Zero Dawn, Silent Hill 2, and looking for other games after these two. Look, I'm enjoying the heck out of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I bought it a couple years ago and never played it, and then I started playing through it. I'm like, damn, this game's really good. And so I'm playing the sequel. I'm going to give it a try. So... But Skeleton, you're getting to the crux of the issue. Anti-woke does not mean there won't be a single gay character in the game. And that's where we're having this massive, massive cultural rift, right? It's... Told them that we expect at least a minimum of research. I unsubbed from the guys and told them why. I wouldn't support them, but expect good faith. Is pure anti-woke achievable? I don't know, because again, the term woke, some people have a hard time defining it. There's a million different ways you could define it. All of them are acceptable. But for John Trent, woke might be anything that has gay people in it. And that's his personal opinion. I still think you have to separate your religious and moral convictions from the term woke, because woke has to do with a Marxist agenda and again, creating a power dynamic between the oppressed and the oppressor, and making it based on racial lines or, again, financial lines of some kind. So I don't think that applying your own moral or religious viewpoint to what you call woke is necessarily a great tactic. I don't want to burn any bridges, Meg. Like, if any of them stumbled across this stream or dropped in, I'm not attacking anybody. I'm disappointed in the way that these people are conducting themselves. And it sucks because I made a lot of connections with a lot of these people. And I genuinely thought for a while we were doing some good stuff, And Skeleton, that's a fair argument. That is a fair opinion to have. The thing is, Daniel Vavra is a very fiery guy. He's got a lot of attitude. And that's part of what was so good in Gamergate 1, I guess, was because he was willing to have gamers' backs and say, screw the media, in this situation, he feels like he's being attacked by the gamers now, he's going to say, screw you too. Yeah, unfortunately, woke and DEI still have meaning, but they've been completely diluted at this point. The terms have been completely diluted. So, prime example, guys. Leon, over at Words of Paradise on YouTube. Funny guy. I've been on stream with him a couple times. I've been on his channel once. I've been over on Moxie's channel with him. We do on Moxie's channel, she does a Star Trek reading. We go through the script of a Star Trek episode once a month now. I've done it twice. It's fantastic. And we do that like the last Sunday of the month. And so Leon has been on there. Leon is a hardcore live streamer. He's live streaming on everyone's channels like all day long. I think it's probably his full-time job, if I'm not mistaken. So he's blocked by Melanie Mack now because he was actually memeing on her a little bit. He responded to her. She responded to him. She's like, someone said I attacked him. Show me where that happened. I didn't. He's like, neither of you attacked each other. Again, he's trying to play mediator. He's trying to mediate. He's like, attack first implies there's a second. It doesn't matter who was first or second since neither of you attacked each other. You just disagree. So calling things attack is just factually incorrect. I think that that's fair. Unfortunately, I think this is the one. Leona, on the other hand, I'm not a fan of. Not a fan of Leona. They need a moderating voice in their circle so you can possibly help, but you can't unplug another man's ears. Maybe. I'll see if I can try to talk some sense into somebody. I just don't know what I can possibly do, to be honest. He works for a call center? Yeah, I think so. That's what it was. It's a huge part of his existence. It's crazy. No one's protecting their poor approach to addressing the potential issue. He's been doing that for 3 days, if he did. I know, it's bedtime. I'm just down to my last tab. Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree that Vavro's response, the studio should have had a better response or any response. Like I said, I'm not willing to let people off the hook just because I like the studio and I think the game's going to be awesome. People are entitled to be like irritated with his response so far. But then Leon did this, and I'm sure many of you have seen this. Okay. So if you're not familiar with everybody in the photo, I'm sure most of you guys here are. Dread Roberts, over on the left, who I do respect, I think he's a good guy. He kicked off the Goonergate thing the first time, a couple months ago, talking about First Descendant. Then you got Razorfist, who defended Melanie today, Quartering, who you all know, he co-hosts with her on the stream. And then you got John Del Rose and John Trent over here. So this got Leon blocked, as you would expect, by Melanie Mack. Not sure if this was helpful. I've thought about like trying to reach out to Leon and go, man, it's funny, but I just don't know if it was called for. I don't know. And that's the problem. He can't say anything that wouldn't spoil the game, right? Yeah, Avernum, it was, I think it hit a little too close to home. Nure said she's not going to like this one. He's like, it has to be done. I'll go repent now. Someone said if she's pissed at you before, now she's really going to hate you. And he's like, I thought the anti-woke were supposed to be okay with jokes. I think, honestly, in this situation, I think Melanie is probably in a very fragile state. I think, who was it? I think, what's the username again? He's really black for a Korean, yeah. Oh, crap, where was their username at? I'm sorry, it was first time in the chat here, I think, or maybe it's their second time. Barbarian Art Game Review. They were the ones saying that they think Melanie, like the tweet went viral or it exceeded like where they thought it was going to go, and now she doesn't know how to respond. I think they were the one that said it. And I think that very well could be she's just in a bad state right now because of the attention that tweet got. So then Leon's like, yeah, I deserve this one. So much for the anti-woke being okay with comedy. He got blocked. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm honestly wondering at this point if there's even anything we can do. And this was a very interesting video. Obviously not the face filter. The face filter is cringe. That's terrible. But what I found interesting about the video itself of Melanie Mack. She's doing her Tomb Raider cosplay. Cosplay's cool. I got no problem with cosplay. If you have a problem with cosplay, that's a you thing. I don't really care. That's whatever. But if you guys recall, and I was trying to find my tweet, I had the video from YouTube of Luna's dance from First Descendant, right? It looks like she's breaking down and starts trying to justify liking some Gooner material, but otherwise, yeah, I saw some clips of it people were talking about. This right here, not to overanalyze, because my head hurts and I'm tired and I'm going to be done with this conversation soon anyways. In the video, I'm going to mute the music. The amount of hip movement we have here is about the exact same hip movement we have from Luna doing her little dancing thing on First Descendants. I'm not even kidding. And I'm not criticizing Melanie. Like I said, I grew up doing line dances but in the 90s when I was a kid. We went to line dance clubs. We did the tush push and the honky tonk crap and everything else. Like, moving your hips is part of dancing. Okay? But this is exactly what she was criticizing to an extent with First Descendant. And this is what truly, I think, irritates a lot of people and caused them to react the way they did. And that's not something, again, it's not me judging her. I don't care. Like, guys, at this point in my life, I do care about other people, but I care mainly about what affects me, my family, my life. You know, that comes first, right? And then I care about what happens in my city, and then by extension my state, and then by extension my country, you know? Made the same distinction. The whole video seemed like she was going through all the stages of loss. Yeah, so maybe she's got some stuff going on. I don't know. And it doesn't mean you either have to pity her or not. Yeah, Nightcore, she's doing the literal same dance. The exact move for move practically, except the other girl's holding like a gun or something up here. Okay, yes, there was more butt showing in Last Descendant. But to be fair, it's a video game. The characters are more accentuated. Melanie Mack is like my size, guys. She's shorter than I am, but Melanie probably has the exact same situation I have where she's an ectomorph and maybe has a high metabolism. Plus, I've got the Crohn's disease, so I don't gain weight, guys. So for me personally, I'm that trifecta where I'll never gain weight before I die. But yeah, in a video game, you have total control over the camera. So the argument about angles of the camera being a Gooner game versus not, you are in control. Every game you play, you can make a Gooner game if you go under your character and stare at their butts, you know? So again, it's a very weak argument in my opinion. Oh, I already showed this one. Okay. We made it through all the tabs I had open, guys. Holy crap. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not convinced that there's much fixing this. I don't want to give up on everybody and just be like, you know what? Screw all of this. I'm just going to keep doing my own YouTube thing. Anybody wants to collaborate, I'm out. Anybody wants to talk to me in DMs, okay, I'm out, you know. Because I've met a lot of cool people, and I genuinely typically have respect for everybody involved. I'm going, Smeg, I'm going. The wife is already mad. It's just, I feel like I'm at a loss as how we proceed, because a lot of people are like, hey, Lucia tweeted out or super chatted that the infighting is not helping, and it's true. The infighting is making things worse, but I think unfortunately the infighting is going to always happen once you have this many wins and once you have this many people who are divided by
presence are the best way to show someone how much you care.
So says we all the pillow calls.
It is like
yeah,
this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
Happy person have to hit the sack. God bless you. God bless chat. God with us. God for us.
Yeah, Hook, I gotta do the
Happy
same, buddy.
Person.
When you guys are telling me to go to bed, it's obviously time for me to log off and go to sleep. I just hope that out of this we can try to have more productive conversations, guys. I guess that's the end, like the long and the short of it, the end all be all of everything. Is I wish that more of you guys and more of like people like me, we could try to somehow have a better influence on the people who are having these fights, not add to it. You too, Ash. Appreciate you for dropping by. I just think so much of this is counterproductive. It's bound to happen. Like I said, it's always going to be bound to happen. But maybe in the future we can try to get some of these people to stop reacting, whether it's for monetization reasons, whether it's for clicks or to go viral or for anything else, you know? Yeah, Smeg, you're probably right. You're probably right. My psych brain's thinking that Mel's going through something later to being born again. Problem is, she's talking to the born again thing. Yeah, maybe. Jesus Christ be praised. Yep, there you go. Yeah, we'll be back. I wouldn't be playing Kingdom Come Deliverance again until next Friday. So Wednesday, I want to play an indie game. I want to try to make sure I get an indie game in on Wednesday. Because I'm trying to focus. Again, the positive things, guys. We're talking about games. I want to feature indie developers, indie games, things that need help getting exposure. So trying to make a difference in more ways than one around here, you know? Anyways, guys, thanks for showing up. This was an impromptu stream. I told my wife when I was seeing all this happen online today, I'm like, honey, I'm probably going to stream tonight, even though it's not on the schedule, because the world is melting and I need to vent. We need to talk about this and see if I'm the only person who feels this way. But I think most of us, to some degree or another, can at least kind of sympathize with what's going on, you know? I've had Factorio on my wish list for so long. You know, Avernum, this is where I'm going to out myself as kind of a cheap bastard. It's never going on sale, ever. Factorio has never been on sale. Try Delta V Rings of Saturn if you haven't. Good indie game. I'll try to add that to the list. I know Nightcore. God, I'm mixing up your names now. Nightcore has been telling me to play My Side. I think it's a Russian indie game for a while. It's like a horror, psychological thriller kind of game, I guess. I don't know. I'll check that one out too. I've got a list, guys. Keymailer. This website keeps sending me these independent game keys. Some of them look good, some of them look terrible, but I know it'll never go on sale. All right, guys. Oh, it's also free. Well, maybe we'll check it out then. You can't beat free 99, right? All right, guys. I appreciate the heck out of all you guys for hanging. I appreciate that we were able to have some constructive conversations. Let them play FFA Halo matches together. Hell yeah, Skeleton. That's the way to solve it. But see, Skeleton, the problem with that, and here's the absolute real issue with that, right? That would expose who the real gamers are and those who aren't. Because the real gamers are the ones that would win. And therein lies the issue. All right, Wild Snake, Avernum, Patriot Skeleton, Tekla, Smeg, all you guys. Have a great night. Anybody I missed, I apologize. Thank you guys all for the super chats and the joining as members. And I will see you guys on Monday night. I am not streaming tomorrow. I am